bad. You guys actually had a pretty good victory 2 weeks ago at this very track at the Emmy Grand National Championships. Just walk me through the emotions of finally getting y'all's maiden national race victory.
Well, I almost had a heart attack to start off. It was just, I was so enthusiastic when he's coming through with the fist pump and just a lot of emotions. I definitely went in the van and shed a tear.
It's so special as well whenever you get that first, and I know you guys have been hard at work racing every series and, coming out and, doing it every single weekend and be out here. I know your wife was also super happy at home. Just walk me through that was like whenever you guys got home.
Oh, she was ecstatic. So we actually made our flight because it got delayed, so she thought we were coming home the next morning, and we showed up at like 2 a.m. and surprised her, so it was awesome.
Good, and I mean this weekend for you guys as well, you find yourself kind of up there in the championship, well inside of the top 10. What's kind of the goal for you guys this weekend? And I know you guys missed practice as well yesterday, so walk me through a little bit about what you guys are facing today.
Always stiff competition in this group. That's why the win for him was so special. This weekend we weren't planning on making it because him and I were both busy, but we decided to skip practice and get out here and race. So we're going for another victory. Let's see what we can do.
Sounds good. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, there you guys have it. Dutch West was bad. Looking for another good weekend here at Trackhouse Motorplex. Back to you guys in the booth. Thank you, Zane. I'm here standing trackside with Kevin Burgess, Zane Burgess' dad. Kevin, it's been a good year for you guys. You guys have had a lot of race wins, a championship already to your name at the SCUSA Pro Tour, and this weekend you come in with a really good shot to the championship. Just talk to me how you guys are feeling this weekend.
Feeling good. We're in second place. A little worried about it. You know, we were here 2 weeks ago, and we are the same three top guys, so we're feeling good. Like Zane says, the chassis is feeling good, so we're confident.
And you guys yesterday in the final practice found yourselves well inside of the top 10, P5 at the end of the day. Have you guys, looked at changing anything? What has Zane really said about his chassis so far this morning?
He loves the chassis. He loves the engine. Wolger gave us a really good engine. So right now he's just fine-tuning, practicing. Yesterday he wasn't all in mentally because he was, trying to figure out the competition.
And I mean, throughout the year, it's been a big development year for you guys. Last year, you guys found yourselves kind of inside of the top 10, fighting for podiums and race wins. But this year, it's been almost all about you guys getting the win almost every single weekend. And you guys come in with a mindset of expecting to win. How hard has it been, I guess, to keep those expectations up all year long?
Well, we're humbled, but we try to keep grounded and keep pushing. We've got a good support. We've got Sodi behind us. We've got a great mechanic, Wolger, as I said. The chassis is good, and it's just up to Zane at this point.
Sounds good. Well, there you guys have from Kevin Burgess. They're feeling humble, but not confident. Back to you guys in the booth.
For him to jump over here into Shifter Masters and how we've seen guys like Jordan Musser jump over into pro shifter here and there. I think Nick DeAndrea could be very fast this week. Just kind of noting on where roughly the delta is from the top guys that are AJ Myers, Talon Yockel level to where the level is here in the shifter master division.
Yeah, Zan, you talk about, hopping straight into something like, with Jordan Mustard. You've been out of it, for about half the year. He's missed a good majority of the season. But, for him, it's going to be crucial to, all day through yesterday and today to, pick apart certain drivers, see if any of the driving styles have changed, and, write that down in the notebook later on today when we get back going for qualifying in the heat races for the Shifter Masters group. But currently on the top is Jordan Mustard, Scott Presti in the second position after making that move there into the first corner. Matt Machiko on the Magic Kart. Nick DeAndrea into the fifth position. Jake Fetter, Mike Rivera, Skitchy Barnes, Hugh Templeman. Still early into this warm-up, and, tires still got to get worked in. People still have, a certain game plan with their tire pressure. And, still 3 minutes, still early days into this warm-up session, but, nothing too crazy. Everyone's still warming up tires, and, definitely going to be close up at the top at the end of this one.
You made the comment while we were kind of keeping an eye on things here, Jerry, that the track looks pretty slippery, pretty slick here this morning. Doesn't look like it's got a lot of grip yet in it. Even though we've gotten now into the afternoon, we haven't put building heat into the surface, and the sun's not been baking this track at all. It's been overcast skies this entire day so far. So describe a little bit of kind of what you have to do behind the wheel of a go-kart like this, and you get out there in the first lap or two, and all of a sudden it feels like you're maybe not as comfortable as you were hoping you would be if the grip's not there. What do you have to do?
Well, Zan, if you get out there and you realize, like, the track really doesn't have the grip it had yesterday, around the peak sun temperature, around 2, 3 o'clock, you're like, okay, well, what I need to do now is I need to change a little bit of my driving, I either need to brake a little earlier, and, for the case of shifter, maybe, go down a gear lower to get a little better exit out. But, when the track really doesn't have that grip, you have to adjust, lap by lap, corner by corner. Say you go through turn one, you're going a little too deep. Okay, I need to back that up next time around. Or maybe the cart slides up, turn 3 at the top of that hill. You're like, okay, maybe I need to turn in a little earlier. It's really just these adjustments, you have to realize as a driver, like, okay, the track isn't there. This is what I need to change. And, slowly each lap by lap, change corner by corner until you find a consistent line and, something that, is really better for that conditions that the track is offering.
I think we're seeing a lot of guys do exactly that because everyone has gone better as this session's gone on by a decent amount. Last time by was the first time Jordan Mustard did not improve, and he still was, I think, finally hitting the plateau on lap times on lap number 6. Scott Presti going by, Jake Fetter going by, both of them just hit a new better lap on lap number 6. So even still through turn 3, it looks a little bit kind of, edgy, I guess, a little bit on the risky side with the back end one to step out in that full throttle corner in single speed. It's a light lift in a gearbox machine. Matt Machiko as well. He's also just gone better on lap number 6. So very different to the norm that we're used to for classes that use this softer tire compound like the MG Yellow. And especially, this is the heaviest class out there, the heaviest minimum weight between the weight of the engine package and the higher minimum driver weight combined into the package. I mean, over 400 pounds. That's going to build a lot more heat in the rubber than a 250-pound micro Swift go or mini Swift go-kart. So you would think at that point they would start to fade towards the latter half of a warm-up or any session for that matter. But again, lap 7, the entire top 5 more than not went better. Presti even do a 46.13 to go all the way to the top.
Yeah, and behind him, Jordan Mustard, only about 13 1/1000ths off him. And, if you look, next time around when we get to the bowl, there was a big stripe of dirt right on the apex that really didn't clear off from last night. And, when I was doing rentals here during the week, it really seemed like the bowl was a lot slicker than, the rest of the corners, and definitely something the drivers are going to have to think about there. But about 30 seconds left here in this warm-up session. Scott Presti is going to be able to get another lap in. So he's going to be starting his lap number 9 now. But, about 15 seconds left, and this session is going to be coming to a close soon.
You saw there just for a split second on that side-by-side angle that Jackson Deal, one of the first drivers set to go out in the first of the 2 groups for KA Junior, has opted to go on sticker MG tires. for a session known as warm-up. That sounds a bit kind of contrary to the purpose of just trying to warm yourself back up and get the equipment all dialed in. But being that it is also essentially happy hour and the last practice before qualifying, this is the closest that they will be on track in terms of conditions to the session that probably matters the most out of the weekend, only second to the main event, and that is setting your starting position, especially in a class like KA Junior or KA Stars, where you've got 60 entries. So, qualifying 20th, qualifying 40th, qualifying 50th. I mean, I can tell you from experience, Jerry, starting in the back, it does kind of write off the weekend a little bit from most recent experience for sure. But in a shifter master class of 16, it's not as detrimental. We probably didn't have that many guys go to new rubber, so this might be more of an accurate read of everyone on scuffs, and that could also play a factor as to why they were getting better over the course of the session. Typically with new tires, they seem to peak on lap 3, lap 4, if not sooner. But it was the best lap, I believe, on lap number 8 for Jordan Muster, and he answered the call from Presti, a 46.104 for the Bureau Art driver to end up on top. Presti, Fetter, Machiko, Templeman, the top 5, but really the closeness was the top 2 and a little bit really through the top 4. Barnes on that Rock Shifter Master package. He didn't have the best of runs at the Clash of the Club, but he is looking to at least potentially lock out that Rock Shifter Master title. It's him versus Mike Rivera in it. Both of them a bit slower than Owsley Cheek, who went quickest of the Rock Shifter Master drivers and 9th overall. So there's a look at the difference. You've got scuff tires on the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic of Max Christia, new tires on a couple of those MPG Kart Republic drivers. So something to keep in mind. You can see fresh rubber, it looks like, there on Nathan Dupuy's Sodi Racing USA entry. Scuffs for Chase Gassiet Lee on the Nash Motorsports EOS kart. I think just the different dynamic of this event is what has kind of split strategies up of when you want to deploy new sets. New tires are obviously optional throughout all of yesterday and through the warm-up today of what kind of set you want to run, how many new sets of tires you want to throw at it. You can almost give yourself an inaccurate or a false positive reading if you throw too many new sets of tires at it, Jerry, and you kind of benefit off of fresher rubber. But, talking about also whether or not rubber makes the difference, well, we may end up going onto a completely different compound if that radar has a little more green on it. There's a look at the top right corner of the screen, Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's, a little far out for now, but definitely. Ooh, that was a bit better of a look there. It's definitely going to be close, probably around 2-3 o'clock, but, we're just going to have to, give some time here and, see what ends up happening. But K100 Junior, I believe your first group is on the grid. They're going to be rolling out soon, and, taking a look at the sky here, it's definitely overcast for today. Not much sun going to be on the track, and Jackson Deal going to take us onto the track here. I believe that's Roman McCurdy behind him, Landon Buer, Henry Taylor, Homer Heumann, Emerson Lane, taking us up the hill here to start their first lap here for K100 Junior warm-ups.
We'll let them warm those tires up here as we got one off at the back that looked to be Emerson Lane on the Hotz DD Tony Kart. He'll get back onto the racetrack. The rest of the first of the two groups cleaning away for now. We're going to take this moment, folks, to step to the side, and we'll come back on the other side of this quick commercial break with more of the action from the Stars Championship Series. Warm-ups underway, and KA Junior, the first of two groups warm up. We'll be back here right after this.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race, and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself, quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website?
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental US.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop AKR.com.
About halfway through the warm-up session for the first of the two groups here in KA Junior, and Ty Fisher tops the boards currently by about a couple of hundredths. There's a look down at Benham Abernathy on the Hotes DD Tony Kart, leading a pack of a handful coming out of the infield hairpin. He's obviously gotten back underway decently well after that off on the outlap. That's something that'll kind of maybe shake your confidence for a second when you leave the pits and 2 turns later you end up off in the dirt, Jerry.
Yeah, Xander, it's definitely a good wake-up call. I know we're today starting about noon, but definitely a wake-up call when you get out there and you're like, oh yeah, the track has no grip, and yeah, I got to get going again. But talking about track position here, Ty Fisher, and behind him that is Travis Pettit behind him, and the two Race Lab TV karts there. Going up the hill there. I believe that Kart in second would probably be Travis Pettit, but it looks like a little bit of a timing issue there. But yeah, those two out front now. Behind him, Henry Taylor, Max Christia, Nate Golseth on that Arcane Motorsports OTK there in the 5th position. Chase Gasly on the old set of tires in P7, and I'm looking here for Nate Dupuis, currently in the 14th position on a new set of rubber. And now Luca Brancati into the 3rd position, Chase Gasly into the 4th position there as we take a look at Hans Anbar there going around turn 8 and now into turn number 9. About 1 minute and 20 seconds left here. Max Christie on that. We have a replay here of Forrest Adams pulling off to the side there on that back straight between turn 3 and turn number 4. Looks like he's trying to get the kart restarted, but unfortunately not going to be able to get it back going here for his warm-up. So unfortunate there for Forrest Adams, but qualifying still up there for him, Xander.
Yeah, that could have been a variety of things. It obviously pulling off at a slow run to the side. Him first looking over to the left-hand side where the battery's located and his left hand going down there. That's where the onboard starter is for these K100 motors. So he obviously didn't think that the chain came off, which is probably one of the most common mechanical DNFs, and that's the connection to the rear axle that spins the tires and the motor itself and the small gear on the inside of the motor on the tire side. So if that comes off, that can come off from contact, from jumping a curb like right there at turn number 2, or anything else, even going off into the grass. Didn't seem like that was the issue for Forrest. Seemed more like an electrical issue, or maybe, as we've seen a little bit this year, some drivers have had reed failures that will kill the motor. That happened to Paulie Massimino leading a heat race, and in the last 300 feet coming to the line, it fully went away and the motor shut off completely, and he went from winning the heat to finishing, I believe, 7th or 8th at the Miami Grand. So that's something that definitely could be what happened to Forrest Adams, but it's a bummer. I caught up with his dad and him a little bit yesterday, and they felt really confident after the first 2 rounds of practice. So going into Qualy now probably a bit more blind than what they would like to be. There you see Max Christia heading to pit lane. He's going into quali with probably a decent bit of confidence. Third right now as the checkered flag flies. But Travis Pettit and Ty Fisher, both of them fast here. And as they'll cross the line, they'll trade the top 2 spots back and forth. It'll go back the way of Fisher. But both of them by nearly 3/10 quickest here in the first group for the KA100 Juniors. So how about that to kick off the morning? When you put 3/10 on the rest of the group you're in, that is next level when we talk about momentum or confidence. I mean, that's huge in this kind of class.
Yeah, and, it's the same thing like yesterday in qualifying with the Pro Shifter where we had, AJ about 3/4 clear the field. And, you already put the stamp on it, and then you sent it, and you're that clear of the field. Everyone's walking back to their tent scratching their head like, where could we have been better? Was it the gear? Was it, were we too wide in the rear? Things like that. But, yeah, still another group to go, however. So Max Christie there in that 3rd position, Luca Brancati, Chase Gassie-Lee, Nate Golseth, Roman McCurdy, Jackson Deal, Henry Taylor, Landon Buer rounding out your top 10, but still another group to go, Xander.
Yeah, that was only half of the KA100 Juniors, going all the way back to P22 there with Forrest not getting a single lap turn, and then Donovan Hogan in the 888 down in 21st. Let's go back down to the grid, and here's the look at Little Sizzle. Isaac Malcuit on that PSL Karting Bureau Art has had a pretty solid season to this point, and he will lead out, it looks like, the second group of the K100 Juniors, the other half of the 45-driver grid. Now, it is on the table, or at least on the plan currently, to have a B pre-final and an A pre-final for both of the KA classes. Now, I think that will happen regardless of anything else. But at 45, well, it would put them on the bubble as to whether or not all of the drivers will transfer through to the main event on Saturday night here to close out the season. And that, I believe, I just need to check into the event announcements because that has been typical in the Stars Championship Series. I mean, they give a lot of track time, and, if they want to stay consistent, you got to do the hard cap at 40. They've done that even with a handful of drivers that have sadly not made it out of the B pre-finals in the past. And the good part about it is even if you don't make it past your pre-final, you've raced a lot, and your pre-final is pretty lengthy, and it will have at least 10 cars in it because only 30 of the 40 that will make up the main event grid go through to the A pre-final. Then 31st on back after 2 rounds of heat races line the grid for the B pre-final. And then, of course, the top 10 from the B pre-final are 31st through 40th on the grid for the main. But with that in mind, with the fact you're split for heats, and as we mentioned earlier, the fact that qualifying is so critical in terms of getting a good start to your weekend, you're seeing more drivers here, even in this group, lined up with sticker tires. Max Weiland on fresh shoes. Ben Cranston, on the other hand, scuffs on the BJR MDR Len Kart. So I think probably another split group, and that could be also what may have been the difference for Ty Fisher and Travis Pettit in that previous session. They might have been on new rubber. We saw Max Christie was on scuffs, and he was 3rd overall. So I don't know which one you come out kind of more confident into qualifying, Jerry. Really good, top 5 pace on scuffs, or really, really good on new tires, knowing you're going to go new tires again in 2 hours?
Yeah, Xander. Well, I feel like, if you're in that top 5 on scuffs, it's definitely a little bit more confidence than, okay, well, I had on new tires. So, when you go out there on scuffs and you're quick, you got to make a couple adjustments to that new rubber. You got to free up the kart a little bit. And, yeah, I would say definitely some more confidence for, those guys in 4th and 5th, if they were on old tires. But, Little Sizzle, Isaac Malcuit taking us out now for the K100 Junior B group. I believe Isaac was also on new rubber there for Little Sizzle on the PSL Karting Burrell Kart there. Max Weiland out on track now. Indy Anderson, Alexander Young, Isabella Simpson, Ben Cranston, Max Weiland, John Antonino. Whole bunch of juniors here onto the track here. But like you said, Xander, with it being 2 groups and they're going to be put together here at a cap of, I believe you said 45. And it's definitely going to be tough to, make it through those heats clean and, stay consistent enough to, make that main event later on today, or later on tomorrow.
The laps that were turned in that previous session there, that KA Junior Group A warm-up, we obviously saw Travis Pettit and Ty Fisher both go significantly better on that last lap around. Let's wait and see here, but I think we might have probably the same kind of scenario in this group as well, where you're going to watch the fast times probably populate at the very end of the session. So with the timer just getting started here for KA Junior Group B warm-up, let's go down to pit lane and hear from some more of the mechanics, driver, coaches, team owners, and parents of the like with Caleb.
At the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati for the Clash of the Club, but you guys look confident so far to start off y'all's weekend. How's it been so far?
Yeah, it's not been bad. You know, this place is just really physical, and good footwork is what it takes to be gooder and faster on this place. Last night we did a lot of video work with our drivers, trying to get them off the brake pedal a little bit sooner in some places. Today I think is going to be a wild one with the racecraft, but you know, just trying to tune the drivers up, get them ready for the week. And you know, we're doing our job behind the scenes and trying to tune everything up that we can do as well. We'll see, but we've got a couple in the hunt for the championship. Going to give it our best go and have some fun as well.
Yeah, and I know you guys have a lot of laps at Whiteland Raceway Park, and it seems like it's going to rain here today. I don't want to kind of, I guess, put that out there and jinx it, but it is something you have to prepare for. Have you guys done enough laps at Whiteland to prepare you guys if the rain does come here tonight?
Yeah, actually, I would say all of our drivers have good rain experience. We've ran a couple team camps throughout the summers. Actually got lucky to be able to run in the rain for a whole day. So I'm confident in our drivers in the rain, and they're all looking forward to it if it does happen. So I think everything will be good.
Sounds good. Well, there you guys have it from Chase Jones, co-owner of MPG Motorsports. And they seem confident in the dry and in the wet. Back to you guys up in the booth.
Yeah, thank you, Caleb. It seems like, you know, definitely when you're in the rain, you know, confidence, you know, is the key. You know, when you're going into a corner, you know, you're like, oh, yeah, not dry anymore. And, you know, you got to adapt to, you know, getting out of that rubber, you know, because when you're in the wet, you know, that rubber line is really slick. And so, you know, you got to get out to the outside of the track where, you know, the marbles are. And, you know, that's really where you get that traction in the rain. But, you know, hopefully we don't see that later on today. But, you know, definitely looming in the sky later on today, though. So about 3 minutes and 30 seconds left here in this K100 Junior warm-up as we get a look there from Carson on the switches there at the sky there. Not much green or blue rolling in yet, but you know, I'm sure that's going to be rolling in later on today. Benham Abernathy currently at the top here. Max Weiland, John Antonino, Kai Mars, Davis Henry, Alexander Young, Isaac Malquit on the new tires currently in 7th. Hamza Ambar, Isabella Simpson, Davin Roberts, who won the X30 shootout here 2 weeks ago for the 2024 edition of the IAME Grands. And, yeah, a lot of talent through in and throughout this field. But, you know, this is the second group here. They currently haven't gone as fast as, you know, the first group with Travis Pettit and Ty Fisher on those that pair of Race Lab TV carts. They haven't gone just as quick yet. Currently only a 49.753 from the Hotes GD driver of Benham Abernathy. Behind him, Max Weiland. And this time by, everyone coming through. We got a couple of carts coming out of the last corner. Enzo Vidmontien and Davin Roberts across the line now. Davin and Enzo going to go into the 4th and 5th position with a 49.965 and a 49.971. But, yeah, about 2 minutes left here and going down the back straight into turn number 4. Enzo and Davin are going to go down the inside, and they're going to pick up a couple of positions there in this warm-up. But, you know, the whole thing about the warm-up is, you know, finding clean air, finding someone you could work with, you know, if you feel like, you know, you need a couple of tenths, you know, get in behind someone you trust, someone you're comfortable following, and, you know, get onto that back door and, you know, push them away and, you know, knock a couple tenths off the table. But, yeah, definitely in the rain, confidence is key, Xander, and I'm sure you know a lot about that.
No doubt. The last weekend was the wettest conditions, straight up dangerous, I think, honestly, I have ever driven in my life. It was a gap weekend for us on the tour for the Kart Chaser Regional and National crew. We obviously had events going on at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati and at Whiteland Raceway Park with our KC Grassroots program, club racing. I was over across the pond in Italy for a 24-hour TB kart event, rental kart event. That was a ton of fun, a kind of last-second opportunity. A huge thanks to Kyle Uchinsky and Amarillo Kart Complex, the whole TB Kart South group that took me over there. Man, I mean, I will tell you, Jerry, I have never had to wash my suit mid-weekend, and we were done. I came back to the hotel after driving in just monsoon, straight-up hydroplane level weather and conditions on the racetrack, and probably had the most disgusting experience of rinsing my gear out because I didn't want to travel for the next 24 hours with, it all stinking up my suitcase. But yeah, I mean, it took a lot of confidence, a lot of guts because, really you're flying blind when you're in the rain. The track is changing every lap. I like to compare it a lot to dirt racing. At least I say that when it's not like monsoon weather and you're on slick tires. When you're actually on wet tires, it's a little bit slippery. It's not overly dangerous in any way, like last week might have been a little bit, because you can still control the car, but it does change lap by lap. You've really got to be playing it by the seat of your pants, and it's actually one of the few, scenarios I feel like where being the leader is much less advantageous than being second or third or fourth, because you can use the guy in front as a meter stick, and he's going to be the one that drives off the racetrack. If he brakes too late, you'll have enough reaction time to try and do something different before you get to that same point in the corner that he's at, and not suffer the same fate. So if we do get the inclement weather, that could be very interesting. What's nice about it, if you're a driver that maybe is struggling a bit physically in the dry, you're going slower, so it's easier on the body. And the engine, if you feel like you're losing a little bit of horsepower or you haven't figured out the proper gear ratio to everyone else, well, that doesn't matter as much because you don't want that much horsepower because you're going to spin the wheels at a certain point. So that, the saying of the rain being the great equalizer, that's where that kind of comes from, that the driver makes the biggest difference. The confidence level definitely factors in. And all around, it makes it entertaining for us to watch them through the challenge and especially trying to pass, because it's very easy to pass if the line in the middle of the corner is on the bottom. It's a lot tougher to have it where the line is all the way on the outside of the racetrack, avoiding the rubber laid down. And that's the other part where I feel like it's like dirt racing, because not only are you sideways, you're having to throw slide jobs, go down to the inside and try to hopefully just slide right in front of someone, get clear, and not allow them to over-under you and pull back down low on exit.
Yeah, Zane. I mean, it's. I like the analogy what you said, how it's like dirt racing. How the line moves from sometimes the top's better, sometimes the bottom's better. But when it's wet out here and everyone throws on the rain tires, if like you said, if that line is on the top, it's really tough to make passes because when you get onto that bottom and it's super slick, at that point you're just throwing slide jobs left and right. But speaking of throwing slide jobs, we got a lot of action coming to you guys later today with our K100 Junior warm up A wrapped up here. Max Weiland on the Magic Kart going to go top of the board. Benham Abernathy behind him on that Hotes DD OTK kart there. Hamza Anbar into third. Good run for him in this warm-up. Hopefully he can keep the pace up. John Antonino, Enzo Vidmontien, Ike on the new tires, Kai Mars, Davin Roberts, Alexander Young, and Davis Henry rounding out your top 10 here in this second group. But I believe next onto the track here, we have our Mini Swifts here for their first warm-up of the day, and they are now rolling onto the track at this moment.
Yeah, a big group all wanted to go and be the first one out. How about that? They're too wide, going to file down to single file, and just about everyone in the entire class for the Swift Stars was in a rush to get their warm-up started. Check out the barriers as well down there by turn 2. Got a great angle from our drone Skycam, showing that as someone or maybe a couple of drivers over the course of the first few sessions have gotten into the plastic blue and white movable wall. They have pushed that back, and that is a big difference in lap time. Check this out. You can see it's obviously snaked, so that's the way that barrier is shaped right now. That is not how it is supposed to normally be, I think. But actually, honestly, taking a second look at it here, Jerry, that it may be set up by design. When we get back around to that section of the racetrack, we'll see right now. Right now, we're just watching the overhead of the outlap, and they're heading to the last turn, but I definitely want to keep an eye on it. We know that the last corner barriers, they've been pushed pretty far back. That's the same as what we saw at the Miami Grand National Championship. The same with turn number 6. But look at this, actually. This is by design. They are not in one continuous line, but that's mainly to kind of hold the shape, because if you hit that first wall, the second wall should stay exactly where it is. But having them pushed back that many feet from where the curbing actually starts, that is a 2 to 3/10 of a second swing. I believe it was the same through the warm-up or the practices yesterday, but if they get knocked back even further mid-session, you need to use that track and pick up the throttle earlier in the corner. That is dynamic conditions without the need for wet weather tires or rain.
Yeah, Zane. I mean, it's kind of like, we talk street races and, temporary courses. When those barriers move, you need to adjust to it, either the lap that you notice or the lap after, because, if you aren't doing it, someone next to you or in front of you definitely is. But, with we're gonna see if onto this next session, if that is permanent and that is built by design like you said it probably is. But that might change the gear, maybe a tooth or two going up that hill. Being able to track out a little more. But yeah, definitely gonna have to see going on to this later sessions on today, as we move there from Benja Fernandez down the inside there into the Turn 4 complex, and now moving up here a group. I believe that is the number 106 of Royce Vega and the number 104 of one of our Timmy Tech comp carts there in line there, leading our group out here. And yeah, the whole train there really wanted to go out at the same time, and it really seemed like track position wasn't much of a worry for any of these kids, Xander.
No, they wanted to just get out and get the maximum number of time that they can in this session. So, we'll see if it pays off or if there's any kids of the main group that opted to wait towards the back. We're watching Parker Ives right now. His father, Greg, just had to hop on a plane, I believe, earlier this morning, head up to Watkins Glen to join the likes of Kyle Larson, who we saw in action last night. Greg, the crew chief on the Hendrick Motorsports Xfinity program, a part-time car, has William Byron behind the wheel of it later on tomorrow. And they've got, as Greg described, a lax day today. He's hoping that, he wouldn't hope for us to run behind schedule, but more so that NASCAR could run right on schedule or a little ahead of it. And he might be able to just make it to the track in time to catch the last couple laps of the Swift Stars main event under the lights tomorrow, as the green flag for that Xfinity race at Watkins Glen, I believe, is at 3 or 3:30 p.m. Eastern, and then a long plane ride back from up in the Northeast down here to North Carolina. But his son Parker has at least put himself in the spotlight, so we'll probably be talking about him a lot, and already to the top for the 149. Half a tenth better than Holden Myers and Bowen Green and Cade Wolf. A flurry of Timmy Tech comp carts there, 2, 3, 4. It was so cool to get to witness Holden Myers' first national win. And not only that, Jerry, it was his first mini Swift win, period, 2 weeks ago at the Miami Grands. What a cool family. And the kid did an awesome job at his interview, too. Yeah, it was definitely exciting to see, being able to, get your first win. It's really exciting. And, on track now, it was exciting to, see his interview as well. And here we are taking a look at what I believe is K100 Senior on grid there. We have one of the Sodi drivers there. I think that might be Alan Isambard and one of the other drivers next to him. But back to on-track action here. We have Josh Bergman coming through the last corner, and all the other carts behind him. Seems like it's kind of broken into packs of 2 here, as it seems to do with, the little bit of longer straightaways and, throughout the middle of the track, a little bit of a technical section. And, going through turn 9, it seems like that seems to be like the splitting point on the track to, whether or not you're in that draft going into that, that last corner and, carrying all your momentum into that next lap. But, Parker Ives still at the top. Nico Katowski on that J&M Sodi behind him. Holden Myers, Bowen Green, pair of Timmy Tech comp carts in the 3rd and 4th position. Royce Vega, Callan Berghofer, who I believe was leading that group right behind the lead 4. Cade Wolf, Marco Samet, who right there on screen makes that move there on one of the Trinity carts there. Benja Fernandez in tow, and about 1 minute and 30 seconds left here in this practice session. This is going to change quite a bit in the last minute and 30 seconds here, Jerry. Less than 3/10 from first back to 11th. And how about a big lap there, even with a pass made that we caught on cam. Marco Samet to the top, and he ties Nico Katowski. 15 thousandths back to Parker Ives on the Ryan Perry Motorsport entry. Then Myers and Green now within 1/10 and 1/4. So lots of shuffling there on the mini Swift field. And they've still got a full minute left in the warm-up as we follow Samet and Parker Stewart along through the infield. Here's a look down on pit lane at another young buck himself, Jackson Wolney, in only his second senior division start. The 996 made the early jump up at the Miami Grands, was fast there. He's ready for action in KA Stars. I shouldn't say second ever. He's been running KA Stars in the senior category at the Stars Championship Series already this year. But it was his first non-Stars event running senior at Miami Grands 2 weeks ago. Now we saw Marco get a little wide there. Looked like the left rear tire might have just kissed that barrier in 11, Jerry. Yeah, he really got tight there. And, even in turn 1, the same thing. I feel like since they moved out those barriers a little bit, we'll take a look next time by as, these drivers are still going to, go for another lap after the checkered. But it seems like since they pushed back those barriers, Xander, there's a little bit of marbles, like, right to the, right where the racing line would be since they moved that back. Yeah, that will probably take a little bit to clear off, from both turn 2, the last turn. We saw a couple times, even in this session, drivers dropping a tire in that infield exit, turn 6, bringing some dirt on the track into the infield hairpin. This would bring some marbles onto tires that would then get kind of spurted off down the front stretch and make the braking zone in turn 1 a little bit tricky. I think it's going to kind of play a factor more so into the races than in qualifying, but it might hurt your lap in quali if you don't kind of keep your eyes looking ahead down the road. At least for now, though, great lap from Holden Myers at the end. It looks like it might stick at the top. Half a tenth better than Marco Samet and Nico Katowski. With the last couple of drivers crossing the line now, checkers in the air, and I don't think we're going to see any more changes here in the Swift Stars class for warm-up. So here's a look at how they fared. Myers, Samet, and Katowski, a dead tie. 15 thousandths back, Parker Ives. 5 thousandths back from Parker in 5th, Callan Berghofer. Nick Mose there, the top 6, less than a tenth. Another tenth back gets you 2 more, Bowen Green and Royce Vega. Cade Wolf, Ben Gleberman, the top 10 all the way 3.5 tenths through them. And it's still close, down to 15th there. Just 2 tenths better for Benja Fernandez would have taken him into the top 10 and up about 6 spots on that SLA Kart Racing Alonso kart. And then you look back from Benja, well, he was only a couple thousandths better than Valentino Santian, who ends up in 16th. And it really stays close through to 21st, really, with Bryson Scales 6 tenths off on the BJR MDR entry ahead of Riley Dobelier, William Vitor, Robert Lash, and the last handful, Nolan Carney, Alyssa Eddy, and Silas Root for the 27 that will line the grid later on this evening in heat race action for Swift Stars. But one of the biggest classes all year, KA Stars, and here is the reigning race winner, Hayden Jones, dominated the night fight in a class that has seen more pack racing and less dominance probably than anyone else. 2 years ago, my mistake. The RPG Cosmic driver is an independent this weekend, but it's at the track that he grew up racing. He will be a factor, no doubt about that, in KA Stars. They've got 2 groups for warm-up, just as the juniors did. They've got a massive turnout of entries, and they're going to be green when we return from Trackhouse Motorplex. More action continuing from Mooresville, North Carolina, in the Stars Championship Series night fight on the other side.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today. Parallel USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parallel Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at parallelusa.com.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
And welcome back to Trackhouse Motorplex. KA Stars currently on track right now with their morning warm-up getting underway. Currently Oliver Piatek currently on the top with only 1 lap on the board. Jared Clark behind him, who had a pretty solid day yesterday. And James Overbeck, Hayden Jones, Finn Bailiff, rookie Jackson Wolney also on track, Alan Isambard, Seamus McKendry, who we've seen have a little bit of a rough end to his day yesterday on that BJR MDR LN kart. And, it seems like he's able to regroup today and get back on track for, this warm-up here today. And Xander now joining me back into the booth here for our KA100 Stars warm-up as Jackson Wolney makes a move there into the bowl.
Jackson Wolney has been uber fast in the junior categories through this season in both the U.S. Pro Kart Series and the Super Karts USA Pro Tour, contending for the championships in both classes. Got his first national win back through that summer stretch, along with a handful of other superstars like James Overbeck here in this division. And for Jackson Wolney, a lot of that progress really has come not just at the help of Mike and Alex Speed and his tuner Richie Warren over at Speed Concepts Racing. It's also been helped by his teammate and mentor Austin Garrison, who's on site helping him this weekend as well. Let's go down as Caleb Vieska has caught up with AG.
Thank you, Xander. And like you said, I'm here with Austin Garrison. We missed you 2 weeks ago here at Trackhouse Motorplex, but you're back this weekend, not in the driver's seat, but coaching your drivers. Seems like y'all tent has grown a little bit more this weekend. Just walk me through, I guess, the new drivers joining you guys under the tent.
Yeah, we've had Jackson for the whole season here in Stars, and he's been doing a really great job. I think with the drop, he's in the top 3, and he's still in the hunt for the win for the series, but hopefully has a pretty solid weekend. Then we have another driver named Peyton. He's new for us because he came and raced at Cincinnati with us, and he's making pretty big strides. Yesterday didn't go so well for him, but now hopefully this morning warm-up it's a little bit better for him to go into qualifying. But he's going to come down actually and do some coaching and all that with me. Hopefully for next year he'll be a lot more up front.
And what are you kind of coaching your guys through? I know it's the temperature, the weather I should say, is looming here this weekend. So what are you coaching a new guy like Peyton and an experienced driver like Jackson?
So it's kind of different here compared to anywhere else because you go to a track like this that there's not really that many hard braking zones here in KA. I think you only kind of get on the brakes hard once, this hairpin here. Besides that, you're kind of just brushing up against the brakes, slowly slowing the go-kart down. For somebody who's new, who's never been here ever, he's actually on the brakes too hard and too much everywhere, overslowing the chassis. And sometimes Jackson doesn't use enough brake. He's trying to roll too much speed through the corner. So that's where those drivers kind of go and have a pretty big, difference on them.
Yeah, well, sounds good. Thank you very much for your time here, Austin. And there you guys have it. A little bit of an intel from Austin Garrison on what it takes to go faster on Trackhouse Motorplex. Back to you guys in the booth.
That's a great point that Austin made. I mean, this is, not a track that's a mile long, not a track that you're going to set breakneck speeds at. It's a track that the drivers refer to as a lot of mid-range, a.k.a. you don't have a lot of super slow corners. You don't have a lot of super long straightaways either that would lead into maybe a mid-speed corner, but you had so much straight line speed, you got on the brakes pretty hard. Like you mentioned, really the major brake zone is that infield hairpin, especially in this kind of mid-range, or middle-of-the-road horsepower division like KA100, 22 horsepower. That's more than the entry-level brakes 206 9-horsepower classes. It's more than the Mini and the Micro Slifts that are also at 9 horsepower, but it's not nearly anything close to the OKN or KZ-powered machines that are pushing upwards of the high 30s into the low 40s for OKN and into the mid 40s, pushing nearly 50 horsepower on the top level KZ engine. So, this K class, like Austin mentioned, this corner right here is the only time you're really trying to make the most of the brakes. The rest of it, you're trying to keep the revs up and, just barely feather the pedal, if not a light lift. As he mentioned, you come from maybe a tighter home track. Jerry, you've raced at a lot of some of the tight and twisty places in the Midwest. There's when you talk about the tracks in Florida, where Austin and his racecraft driver development small program is based out of, Orlando Kart Center, Homestead, those are big tracks, but both of them have some heavy braking zones. But in your case, I mean, that's something that maybe you get here and you're like, this feels like a super speedway, even if it doesn't look like it on TV.
Yeah, like you said, Xander, it's tougher when you're used to these these bullring tracks, and then you go somewhere like say Jacksonville. That's one of the tracks they have in Florida, and same thing here at Trackhouse. It's a lot more high speed. It's more about carrying that speed center off, and staying consistent through and through to be with that draft with whatever group you're in. But it's even harder going the opposite when you're used to like a high speed track like here, and you go somewhere like a bull ring, it goes both ways. You have to adjust your driving and get used to using a little more brake pedal, but it goes both ways. But here at Trackhouse, it's really about being into that draft and keeping that minimum speed up in turn 8 and being able to carry that speed out of the corner. Like we see on screen now, is there's a couple of BJR LN karts there. I believe that's Jared Clark on screen, Oliver Piatek. They're going into turn number 8, but that's really just one of the most crucial corners on the track there. Being able to carry that speed out and being able to carry it through here in this double right here in turn number 9, and then down this little short chute to this last corner. It's just really crucial to get that run out of 8 to be able to carry that speed.
They're both following the 998 of Aiden Hatcher, who spends most of his weekends with the BJR MDR crew wrenching. But home track for Aiden, he's also out on the circuit and in the top 10 along with the 2 of his teammates. There are going to be a lot of blue, white, and yellow machines here this weekend, and it looks like already a good amount of them are in this first of the 2 practice groups. They are half of the entire top 10. 3rd for Overbeck, 6th for Clark, 8th, 9th, 10th for Hatcher, Piatek, and then Seamus McKendry as well, who is the only one kind of not in that group. Alan Isambard is not on board one of those LN kart machines. He's back there on the black and orange Sodi, P5 for the Floridian, just under 2/10 off. All of them, though, chasing Hayden Jones, who we watched bail for the pit lane early in this session. He ends up 400ths over Andrew Hamill, who is already, I think, on track for his best performance so far in the KA Stars class. That's one heck of a run for Andrew in the 905. 400ths off the pace of the 916 and the newly crowned number 2 plate on the SCUSA Pro Tour following his vice championship run here this year. $5,000 full run there for him. Hayden's now back on his second of 2 starts in the Stars Championship Series, both of them at his home state. We saw him in action at the Charlotte Motor Speedway Queen City Gambit opening weekend. Didn't get to hang out or see Hayden at the Stars events through the middle portion of the year. He's back, though, at home turf and defending it well for the warm-up. Beyond those top few drivers, Finn Bailiff split up the BJR MDR group from 6th to 10th. He ends up 7th on the TKG Kart Republic, and we'll take you through the rest of the drivers in that first group of the 2. 22 of them turning laps all the way back to Brandon Comerford in the 927, 2.3 seconds to find for him. Here's a look at Bailiff's teammate, Noah Jackson in the 976, and new driver joining the LN Kart Brigade, Brandon Lemke. Ran as an independent at the last time we saw him at the Clash of the Club. Now linking up with a powerhouse operation based predominantly here out of North Carolina. Brandon Jarsikrak, kind of like us, Jerry, is out of a suitcase more than he is out of his own apartment. But his team, his shop is just down the road from this place, and he has a lot of drivers, and now has joined up with someone that he has spent probably more years knowing and racing against, and the same goes for Lemke than they have not knowing each other and not racing against each other. And at one point, Jerry, those two were not the best of friends. So I think it's kind of funny to see, over time heals all wounds, and now you've got a driver that used to go head-to-head with someone end up driving for their team.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a crisscross, right? You go from here and, now they're being able to work together and, put everything behind them. But, like you said, time heals, and, now that they're working together, I'm sure they're going to be a power duo to watch this weekend. And, someone like Lemke was, a seasoned veteran in, single speed and, definitely going to be one to watch this weekend. And I believe a couple weeks ago at the Route 66 Sprint Series, he was also on that LN Cosmic. So he's definitely been, testing out those tubes and, getting all geared up for this weekend at the Stars Championship Series here at Trackhouse Motorplex. But your KA100 Senior Group B now rolling on to track. This is your second half of the KA100 Seniors. I believe about probably a total of 45 to 50 entries for this class, and now on track, Xander.
As they head down the back straightaway, there's a look at, again, Lemke on the 901. We saw Zach Frank on the Eyes Up Racing Body Symmetry MD machine lead the main group out. This second pack, slow to leave the pits, featuring a couple of fast drivers like Mick Gabriel, among others, that I could pick out at least out of that group of about 10 or so. But Zach's already down into the infield hairpin here with Noah Jackson right behind him. and further back a couple more, but I think really the big group, maybe some of the fast drivers from final practice wanted to wait towards the back of the pack, so curious to see if they're going to get all the laps out of this warm-up or if they're going to get beaten by the buzzer. How about one fast driver that went out at the back of that group, Carter McMurray. We got to hang out and chat with Jamie with the first of those grid fence interviews back at the Miami Grand National Championship. He is hot off a podium, a top 5 run in his second ever X30 Pro debut. What a run for the Timmy Tech Comp Kart driver. And, well, let's go back down to pit lane. Caleb Vieska is standing by with one driver that was racing last year, was almost in the commentary booth with us this week. Might join us. Might put him to work. Caleb?
Yeah, thank you, Xander. And I think might join us is an understatement because this guy for sure is going to get some work in and get some reps in at some point this weekend, Alex. But talking about the race, obviously you raced last year, a full OKN season for you under the books. A lot of experience in KA, especially at this racetrack. Yeah. We heard from Austin on what his keys were to go faster on Trackhouse. What are yours?
Well, in KA, it's all rolling speed, really. Keeping the momentum up in the corners, getting off the brake, and having a good motor really is key here. You know, this track also, racecraft is huge, and knowing also who you're racing, the locals here are so fast. If you can stick with them, you'll be quick here.
And then next on the OKN side of things, obviously you raced here last year. It's a little bit different on that direct drive category with the rev limiter, so walk me through what those guys are going to expect later on today.
I feel like the lower the gear you can run, the faster. I mean, you see like Caleb can run the lowest gear. I feel like him and Pauly were the lowest gear in qualifying, so if you can roll the speed out of the corners, get that acceleration, I think that's it. It's just gearing and being able to just, you know, carry the momentum as well. That's it, really.
Sounds good. And I know you're coaching some guys under the BJR tent, so tell me how your guys are doing so far this weekend.
I think we're doing good. I'm really working with Todd Chambeau and Masters, so I think we're rolling off in like 20 minutes. So I think we're looking good.
Sounds good. Well, there you guys have from Alex Stanfield. This is a driver and I guess coach or mechanic or whatever you want to call it. We're going to hear a lot from him this weekend. So back to you guys in the booth.
He was able to join us back at that Norberg Invitational in Orlando earlier this year. He did a great job on his on-air debut, and we're going to have a lot more from Alex as his driving duties now have transformed to coaching, to hanging out, and to getting into the TV part of the business as well. Now, we were watching as we went down to them on pit lane that you saw Caleb kind of look to the sky and shrug for a minute. We're starting to see a little bit of that liquid sunshine, and more than anything else, the clouds darken here at Trackhouse Motorplex. Now, the times have not necessarily fallen off. It doesn't look like we've necessarily gotten anything more into or anything slower or really a big change in the conditions. I mean, they're running low 49s. That's pretty quick for this racetrack. But as we take a look at the live radar, we are that small red square right in the middle. We know with the hurricane just off the coast that there is a threat of inclement weather throughout this entire weekend. But it looks like right now, if anything, it might just be a small, isolated pop-up that's just formed right near us. So I don't think that is a cause to go ahead and throw your massive, full, wet rain setup on the go-kart if you're waiting to go out in the next hour or two. But something to keep an eye on. And Jerry, that's something as you're lining up on the grid, you're taking a look at the sky, and then when you're driving on the racetrack, the moment you start to see a droplet on your visor, you kind of go onto alert.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you see a little bit of raindrop, you definitely don't want to be that first kart into that first corner, but definitely you want to be on alert, stay on your toes, and adjust as the track changes. But yeah, definitely if this rain does come down while they're on track, they're going to want to start to back it down. But with it being warm-ups, I'm sure if the sky does open up, these guys are going to pull in and save their equipment, as it's only warm-ups. But yeah, definitely, if the sky does open up, they're going to want to adjust. But as of now, it seems like, the times still aren't, too far off. They only slow down about a tenth or two, but, still pretty consistent as of now.
2x2 into the hairpin for Carter McMurray and Mateo Pappas. Let's put some more spotlight on the fast drivers here in this second group warm-up session. A 49.3 was quickest. It is still quickest here with Mick Gabriel. He matched it last time, a 3.4, and then last time by a 3.7. Lucas Zabo will reset fast time. He'll go to the top. as well. The 9:21 gold cart entry of Hudson Brown up to 7th, 49.53 for him, kind of by himself, but he's setting up for what should be a very good lap, I think, this time. Starting that lap about 7 or 8 car lengths back from that group up the road from him. McMurray's been dropped to 5th. Raheem Alibi has joined the top 5 along with Luke Welcome on the Rocket Racing Company FKs. They're in that group ahead of Hudson, so as they're fighting, Hudson might get a little tow coming to the line. They're all trailing Mick Gabriel. Looks like in that mix might also be another Timmy Tech comp cart. I don't know if that'll be Chris Harrower or Seth Stowe.
It is Seth Stowe.
Indeed, Seth there. So he's in the mix along with Zabo. They're all trailing the AAM EOS cart for Hudson. That lap was not enough. He'll stay down in the 8th spot. Was able to match his best, though. Big lap from Mateo Pappas. He'll jump to P2.
Yeah, and, according to the times right now, we have Nick, Raheem Alibi, Luke Welcome, Carter McMurray, who are, all together throughout this, all throughout this warm-up session. As I believe that was Gabriel moving to the back of this group now, and as Hudson Brown is now tailed onto the rear of this group. But with about 8 seconds left, it seems like the times are about where they are. This lead group here is shuffled a little bit as they've hit some traffic with Seth Stowe, and a couple drivers pulling off. And it seems like 49.1 was the quick time in that first session, and they were only able to do a 2 this time around. So the track didn't change much this session, although we did see a couple of drips, here and there. But hopefully that Sky can hold off, as long as it can.
It's still got a bit more time before we get into qualifying, with one more group set to go for the warm-ups. That'll be the OKN Juniors. And then I think we're slated to go straight from them into KA Masters qualifying here this afternoon. We will go through, straight into qualifying with KA Masters following the OKN Junior warm-up. There will be a 10-minute break in the action following the OKN Junior division. That's par for the course of the Stars Championship Series. One of the things they do to try and make sure that they stay right on schedule is give themselves a 10-minute gap at the end of every rotation. Also, it's a great time for a water break, a restroom break for the hardworking officials, because just like us, it's non-stop. From the moment the green flag drops, it feels like once the sessions begin to roll, whereas everyone on the other side of the fence, or all the spectators, where you can take a break whenever you like. That's not exactly the case for the hardworking men and women that are out on the racetrack, up in those scissor lifts, and making it all happen. So OKN Junior will be the next group to roll when we return, but it is the run through the lineup from Group A. Lucas Zabo, a 49.28, not best overall. That came from the previous group, but still within a 10th, as Jerry mentioned. All the way down to 6/10 off at Chris Harrower in 15th. First man out on the track was Zach Frank. He ends up 14th on the Eyes Up Body Symmetry MD OTK. And then the final few drivers here from Group A out of the 24 that turned a lap. It goes all the way down to Jake James and Eric Oslin in the last few across the loop once they were sorted off best time. Aiden Shimbashi just ahead of them on the J&M Racing factory cart in 22nd. So OKN Junior has been released onto the racetrack. We'll take a moment to step to the side and come back with the final warm-up session, and then begin gearing up for qualifying.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Car Class has done the hard work for you. We've travelled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Car Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack, pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit carclass.com to get your track information.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're gonna need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rip protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next, well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Are you a racing enthusiast? Drive Your Line is the Mid-South's only full-service kart shop. We make dreams a reality for those 5 years old and up. All racers start in karting, and we're the purveyors of fun for the whole family. Karting the Coast is presented by Drive Your Line Kart Shop and is the premier race series on the Gulf Coast and brings racing to Biloxi at Finish Line Performance Karting and at the world-renowned NOLA Motorsports Park. Call us at 601-667-0770 or find us at driveyourline.com. Also on Facebook or Instagram.
Welcome back to the Stars Championship Series night fight, and OKN Junior is the last class of our warm-up sessions, this debut category for 2024, featuring most of the same familiar names you're used to seeing in the KA Junior class doubling up. John Antonino Jr., Chase Gassiet, Max Weiland, Isaac Malcuit. I think all 7 actually are competing as well in KA Junior, including even Sebastian Rist and Nate Golseth on the Arcane Tony kart, Jerry. So double the track time, and when the track is dynamic and we could be anticipating some more precipitation throughout the day, or just the fact that the track's going to change a lot, regardless of whether or not it gets doused with a bit of liquid sunshine, this could really help both ways. It's not going to be any benefit for anyone over the 7 in this class, but for them driving OKN Junior and then going out against the KA Junior drivers that are not doubling up, it might be a little bit of a factor to help them get a head start of what to expect from the racetrack.
Yeah, and being able to go out, every like 45 minutes, instead of like an hour and 20 minutes, you're able to keep up with the track a little more than, say the people only running, just K100 Juniors. So yeah, for these 7 guys on track here, they're able to keep up with the track progression a little more, and they're able to talk to their mechanics after they get off from OKN and be like, okay, I feel like the track had a little more grip. The sun has been beating on the track a little bit more, and I feel like it's time to do this to the KA kart. But yeah, definitely a little bit of an advantage for these 7 on track here, but still a race in OKN here. We got Max Weiland and Chase Gassiet currently on top with the exact same time. Isaac Malcuit behind him, John Antonino on that MPG KR also on the track, Nate Golseth. And, Nate Golseth, talk about him a little bit. He's been a driver who's been progressing throughout the year, making huge strides. We've seen him work a little bit with the camp they had here with RPM, being able to work with, drivers the likes of Brent Cruz and Dalton Haynes, being able to get coached by them and work on small things that they need to improve on, has definitely been beneficial for Nate. And, we've been able to see his progression throughout the years, Andy.
Yeah, that kid, the last time he was in the OKN Junior class, it was only technically 3 national races ago, I think, at the Clash of the Club, and he was nowhere near the pace that he is right here. Granted, this, of course, is the track that, like you said, Jerry, he got the training at, did the extra days over the summer, but they've been super, super busy. Him, Trevor McAllister is, his mechanic and as well coach and kind of big brother figure in Shaston Johnson. They were super active, probably behind the wheel more than any other kid, I think, or at least right up there with driving anywhere from, 3 to 5 maybe days a week, maybe every day of the week. It felt like when they were here for the couple of weeks, and on top of that, the training they do back home. I mean, you look at the results right there. Seat time is a commonplace word amongst all of the drivers, mechanics, and parents and families in the paddock. And Nate Golseth is a prime example of the fact that just continuing to get quality seat time, quality coaching pays off because he has gone from being a non-factor at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati just the previous round of the Stars Championship Series to here in this warm-up session, hanging tough within a couple tenths of Chase Gassiedley, who's already a race winner on the year, Isaac Malcuit, who has won a number of events throughout his entire career dating back to his micro days. That kid has been a stud since he rolled onto the national scene at 7 years old. And Max Weiland, who has also been exceptionally quick and a name that we have become familiar with many times over on the race weekends for the last 2 seasons. So Nate is the next best. He's quicker right now than Davin Roberts on the Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart, who was the most recent winner and has had a heck of a last month, winning a ticket to the Rotax Grand Finals. Then 7 days later, winning the Miami Grand National Championship. He's 5th, and Nate's better than him. And then John Antonino Jr., the next one up, also a Stars Championship Series race winner on the year and a winner last year as well. And then Sebastian Rist, got to give kudos to the 122. He's still close to the 6 in front of him. Even though we're only 7 deep in the division, we've got only half a second separating all of our OKN junior drivers. So this should still be a very fun class to watch from the fence line or from your favorite place to catch all of the live Kart Chaser coverage. And speaking of that coverage, well, this is an overhead shot of the picturesque Trackhouse Motorplex, which right now still is dry enough for slick tires, but with the overcast skies, who knows how long will be that way. We've got a 10-minute gap coming up, 12 minutes to be exact, 1:40 p.m. Eastern, 10:40 a.m. Pacific. In 12 minutes, the K Masters will go green, and we'll roll from them all the way through the lineup for qualifying for semi-pro, and the pro classes will start their day with warm-ups at the end of the rotation. So a packed house at Trackhouse, and we'll be back with it all here in 12 minutes.
Welcome back here to Trackhouse Motorplex. The time has officially started for your KA 100 Masters division as they work their way out onto the racetrack. Dusty Davis in the Ryan Perry Motorsports machine leads the field out to the green flag. Peter Cook just went to the top of the timing charts. Scott Carapolati went in second. Davis stayed in third, but we did see some issues there early on in that session. Jerry, John Bonanno, the reigning champion and the championship points leader as well, went around there on the exit of what looked to be turn number 3 going down the hill into the bowl, and 2 drivers get collected. That looks to be one of the Carapolati brothers and the MPG machine there of Shane Burkett that went around and got collected into the wall there. It looks like those 2 drivers made contact, and again, you look onto the radar, the clouds continue to get closer, but Jerry, we were getting reports that it was starting to sprinkle outside, so it's that's probably one of the big issues, and more drivers start to go around as well. That looks to be Paul Montopoli in the best cart there that went around just after turn number 6, I should say. So it's definitely starting to get tricky here, Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, you can see even there going through turn 8, a little bit of understeer there. And, you can definitely, build off of that and say that, yeah, the track is definitely starting to dwindle down. And, especially in qualifying, the raindrops start to fall. You got to get that lap in early because, the track is only going to fall off even more and more, as the time goes on. So, Dusty Davis right now is sitting real pretty on pole with about half a second up on the field, but, it's going to be interesting to see if any of these drivers do, are able to set another time, close up where Dusty Davis is. But, with the track dwindling down, it's definitely going to be tough as Davis goes even quicker with about 8/10 up on the field now.
Yeah, Dusty Davis is a driver with a lot of experience here at Trackhouse Motorplex. If you look back to the 2023 edition of the Miami Grand National Championships, this driver absolutely put a clinic on the Masters field last year, and then this year he makes his return to Stars Championship Series racing, and he's a driver who has a lot of experience here at Trackhouse. He races at the Club Series against all the senior drivers, against all the young guns, and for Dusty Davis to have that racecraft and a race with all those guys and then come back up to the Masters class for a national event like this, it's definitely going to be a little bit change as well there, Jerry.
Yeah, not only that, Caleb, being able to have that home track experience, especially knowing, where to adjust your lines when it rains, compared to, someone like Jacob Nairi who's from the Midwest, he doesn't really race out here too often. Being able to have that home track experience to, know where to adjust your lines is definitely a lot of help there for Dusty Davis on that RPM O2K.
Yeah, no, well said there, Jerry, for a driver like Jacob Neary, and another driver who's seems to be struggling here a little bit. As you said that, commentator's curse, your first one, I should say, here. That looked to be Jacob Neary, if I'm not mistaken there, and it looked like it was.
That was Peter Cook.
Peter Cook, the other AEM in the field. But for John Bonanno, he's been consistent all year long, and we talked about his kind of run through the field all yesterday, how he's had super consistent weekends finishing on the podium as more and more drivers get collected. One of the Eyes Up Racing machines there, the 209, gets collected just on the exit. That's Brent Estes that went around on the exit of turn number 6. So that corner starting to bite back, it seems like, Jerry.
Oh, absolutely, Caleb. As the rain starts to dwindle down and, hit the track, all these drivers, I believe you saw a couple of Magic Carts pull into the pits there that last lap. They're definitely thinking that, they're not going to be able to improve anymore. But, that's definitely, the telltale sign that the track is dwindling down and, lap times aren't going to be any better.
And I tell you what, the lap times earlier on in the session were around the 50 mark, and nobody's going quicker at this stage of the qualifying session. So everybody's starting to slow down. And if you're a driver who hasn't put in a good lap, this is exactly what you don't want to see as Carapolati works his way into the pits. And that's going to end his qualifying session. But again, Jerry, nobody improving their lap time. Shane Burkett crossing the line now. Burkett finds himself in 16th, ways down the order. Last lap that he set was a 53.649, so Burkett not able to improve as of yet. Romalo's the driver that sits in second, Neary in third, and for the championship points leader and John Bonanno all the way down in 10th. That's going to mean a lot of work for him throughout all of the heat races and into the pre-final, so That's not what you need if you're John Bonanno, but for Dusty Davis, who's a one-off for him, no championship on the line, just the hardware from the night fight. That's exactly what he's going to want.
Yeah, absolutely, Caleb. And, De Niro Malo behind him in second, Jacob Nairi in third, Todd Shambo, with the help of, the whole BJR, MDR crew and getting coached with Alex Stanfield, he was able to put himself into the fourth position, currently tied with Scott Carapalati. But, as we see Dusty Davis pull off the race line here, he's probably thinking that, the qualifying session's basically done, with the track dwindling down, with currently running anywhere from about 52.8 to about a 55-second lap time. And, qualifying session, about 50 seconds left on the clock, but not much time left on the racetrack, Caleb.
Yeah, not much time for a lot of these drivers, and you're seeing a lot of them starting to opt to go into the pits. Dusty Davis works his way in with 30 seconds left on the clock here. Nobody improving on their lap times, and rightfully so, because you see the clouds start to get into the area, and the sprinkles start to get just that little bit bigger. So still under 30 seconds to go left in this qualifying session, but I think that's going to be it here, Jerry. Dusty Davis is on the pole in KA Masters.
And behind him, De Niro Malo, Jacob Nairi in that third position, Todd Shambo in the fourth position, Scott Carapalati in fifth, with I believe his brother all the way down the field in the P18 position. We seen him spin out in that last corner there and pull into the pits about 2 laps ago. Sixth position, Eric Heinig. Seventh position, Peter Cook, Josh Ream, Austin Queen, and John Bonanno.
And you go back from John Bonanno with Brent Estes in 11th, Anthony Stifler down in 12th. You go back to Roy Melanoy and Tom Gershner in 15th. One driver still out there, a couple of drivers, I should say, still out there on the racetrack. One of the Comcarts there, the 233 of what looks to be Josh Ream in the 8th spot. So he's not improving his lap times. The last time around for Josh Ream, a 52.250 compared to the best lap time of Dusty Davis. That's 2 seconds off, a 50.566. So nobody improving here. Burkett is down in 16th. That's a driver that we expected to be further up the field, but they all had issues earlier on, kind of getting together, finding themselves on a very tricky and slick racetrack so far, with the sprinkles continuing to come down here at Trackhouse Motorplex. And you see the jackets already out by the corner workers and whatnot. So that's going to be it there for Josh Ream and for the rest of the field as well. I mean, save the tires, save the equipment. Don't risk putting it in the wall. And for everybody else, it's going to be a question of whether you want to go to slicks, whether you want to go to the wet weather compound, or whatever you want to do. It's definitely going to be a hectic rain dance in the pits, Jerry. And you're a racer as well. You've found yourself in situations where everybody has to be shuffling around for what you're going to go setup wise, where you're going to go tire wise as well. So walk me through what's going through the heads of some of these drivers or some of these mechanics as well that are on the fence line at the moment.
Yeah, so I mean, you can see on screen now, Caleb, it looks like a lot of these carts still have slicks on them, but just taking a look out the window, I've seen a lot of carts push by, and you see the rain tires on the bottom of the stand. And the mechanics are definitely thinking about whether or not it's at that crossover point where you do need to throw on those wet tires. But it's like a gamble, right? We're not sure what these drivers are going to throw on in terms of tires. But right now would definitely be if you don't exactly have that pace to go put it on pole in the slicks, this might be the time to gamble and throw on the wets.
Yeah, and I think we're just not quite at that crossover point where you can get there and actually go quicker on the slick weather tires. And again, the track is still it's slick, and I won't lie, the lap times are nowhere near of what they were earlier this morning for the warm-up session. But it's still not at that crossover point where the track is actually damp, where the dry line isn't there anymore, and the groove, the rubbered line that has kind of formed is slick. It's still pretty slick. So you saw a lot of drivers kind of going sideways through some of the corners, like John Bonanno, and into the exit of turn number 6 into the double right-hander. So he was struggling there. But again, you look at the radar, weather's starting to come in, and just light sprinkles for now. But it's definitely going to change here in a couple of moments' time.
Oh, absolutely, Caleb. And, as soon as that rain does start coming down, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of the drivers throw on those the wet set of MG Rains. And, lap times are, going to get a little better than what they were on the slicks. But now we have our Micro Swift class rolling out now. Jaden Francisco going to be the first one to hit the pavement. Behind him, Zeb Gottschalk, Santi Orioli, Zane Burgess. And now we start the order dance here going into turn number 4.
Yeah, everybody already starting to pull off to the wayside. Zev Gottschalk looking to move over. His brother Win Gottschalk not here this weekend. Just Zev for now, as a couple of drivers go around. Zane Burgess goes around in turn number 4. Westbrook looks to go around, and a couple of others as well were able to get around that Sodi Racing USA machine. But for Zane, he finds himself way down the order, so he's going to have to qualify almost from the back of the field as Kubinski continues to make moves, and everybody else still fighting for track position. And honestly, at a racetrack that's changing with the weather, to me, it's just important to kind of find yourself in a good, comfortable position to put in a lap in case it changes even more. Just taking advantage of the dryness of the racetrack from the start, and then trying to put in a good lap in the end. So that's, I think, to me, that would be the main strategy coming into this qualifying session, Jerry.
Yeah, Caleb, and at the same time, going into the Lawrence Perriman loses a tire into the first corner. The tire is going to go over the barriers there and end up in the fence, but that is going to be the qualifying session done for Lawrence Perriman on that BJR MDR kart.
Wow, and it just didn't seem like it was screwed in all the way, and it just completely flew off of his BJR MDR LN kart. He found himself in the wall there, but unfortunate there for that camp. That that's their driver that's been quick all year long in his Micro Swift category, and just unfortunately not going to be the same story. He's going to have to work his way from the tail end of the field in all the heat races, and his real only shot of kind of getting into the fight is going to be whenever the pre-final rolls around. So unfortunate there for Lawrence Perriman, to say the least. And let's take a look back at that Shop AKR replay there by Lawrence Perriman. They're coming in through the first corner. Tire flies off, and he finds himself in the wall. So unfortunate there for Perriman. And we look at it one more time here. Just, didn't seem, it wasn't the actual hub that came off. It seemed like it was the actual tire. So could be those 3 10-millimeter copper bolts that just, nuts, I should say, that hold on to that wheel and hold it in place. And just didn't seem like it was tightened up all the way. So unfortunate there for Perriman. And a driver, we talked about strategies. We talked about getting yourself in clean, open room. Santi Orioli has done just that, and he finds himself in the second spot at the moment with Zane Burgess up at the front, a 54.558 for that driver. And spoke to his dad a little bit earlier today. They were talking about how they were trying to keep humble and get themselves in the fight for the championship, but they weren't comfortable. They knew they had a lot of work to do, especially after yesterday. They struggled a little bit. Zane was still looking to kind of find that setup, the right setup in the kart, because they struggled so much 2 weeks ago at the Amy Grand National Championships.
Yeah, absolutely, Caleb. And, now we have a lot of times coming through here. Santi Orioli on that MPG KR is going to go to the top. Jaden Francisco behind him. Camille Canache, who is behind Santi, is going to go up into the 3rd position. Dutch Westbrook on that Team Bennett kart there into the 4th position. Jake Rinaldo, Easton Kubinski. And, I feel like for Zane, he's going to have to put a time down soon. With only 3 minutes left here as he makes a move there into the bowl. Definitely going to have to recover from that lap 1, turn 4 incident there, and you're going to have to get a time on the board soon.
Yeah, he finds himself in the 9th spot at the moment. Santi Orioli the quickest, and again, Orioli's lapping around by himself. Francisco as well. We haven't heard too much from that driver so far. We haven't seen too much, I should say, from him so far this weekend and at the start. But he has been up there. He's been one of the main contenders in this field. He's in the Ryan Perry Motorsports Nitro kart further up in the order as it continues to shuffle around. Westbrook goes to the top. Burgess goes back to the top. Westbrook 2nd. Manalio falls back to the 3rd spot. There's Jaden Francisco and a couple of other drivers as well still fighting it out here further back in the pack. Lennox Lockhart's in that group. Westbrook looking to make a move. They're going 3 wide in a turn number 4, and racing already, Jerry, providing us with some early racing action before we even start the heat races here.
Yeah, that was really close, Caleb. And, I feel like when, especially with the bowl, there's definitely, that buildup of marbles you see on the outside of the track. And that was definitely a sketchy move right there. But, all these talented kids able to get through there clean and through. And, able to continue their laps here. But this group on screen here is Zane Burgess, Danny O'Gara behind him in that MPG KR. And, for Danny is currently in that 5th position, about 2/10 off. But I feel like Danny is in that prime position right now to, pull a toe off of Zane and hopefully pick up a 10th or 2 to put him into that top 3.
Yeah, and again, it seems like the track isn't as tricky now. It seems like whatever weather or temperature or weather, I should say, that was in the area has definitely moved, to the side, and the sun's starting to poke out a little bit through the clouds. So that track kind of getting back to where it was earlier on in the day, and everybody's still single file. And this is the group that's actually quickest on the racetrack. Zane Burgess did go quicker the last time around by a 1/10 of a second, and that's just the fact that Burgess has obviously not where he'd want to be in the order. He's back there having drafting from Lennox Lockhart into turn number 8, but everybody's still fighting, still passing, and still battling for position. You see Westbrook raise his hand in the air. He's not happy with all the battling that they're doing as he looks to remove there on the inside. He was able to get clear, but wow, he made that move for the race win 2 weeks ago, and now he's having to make it in qualifying to even get himself with some good track position, Jerry.
Yeah, it seemed like he really just wanted to, get to the head of this group, and, it really didn't work out the way he wanted to, but he was able to put Lennox Lockhart, Easton Kubinski, and Daniel Guerra back behind him. With about 1 minute and 3 seconds left on the clock, not much time left to really put into time here as Jaden Francisco goes down the inside of, I believe that was Santi Orioli's teammate there. Not too sure who that was at the moment, but I'm going to try to get a name on that soon. And Lennox Lockhart now down the inside of Easton Kubinski. And for this group here, Caleb, all this fighting is, not beneficial at all for this qualifying session.
And this is one of the big things that I've kind of gotten out of this group as well. Lennox Lockhart is on pace with this group, and he's inside, just outside of the top 10, but he's on pace with everybody else and all the fast kids that are putting in the lap times, but he hasn't had a single clean lap this entire session, Jerry. His fastest lap was a couple of laps ago. His fastest was a 53.857, a couple of tenths slower than the rest of this group, but they just need to set in a good lap time. They need to set in a clean lap where they're not passing each other, where they're not, shoving each other out of the way or whatnot. It's just the matter of getting that lap in cleanly and getting over it, I should say.
Yeah, and with this group here with Easton Kubinski, Zev Gottschalk, Lennox Lockhart, Daniel Guerra, this is really their last chance. And, I feel like, unfortunately, with that move there in the bowl, that might have just threw away their last lap here, Caleb. But, we'll see what they can do here. But still another lap here to go. And we'll see if anyone can improve here with the checker here this next time by. Dutch Westbrook was able to move into the second position there, as he also makes a move there into the turn 8 hairpin there.
Oh,
Lennox Lockhart,
wow.
Daniel Guerra contact. Lockhart's going to go around there into the grass, and that's going to be the session over for that driver.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Lennox Lockhart, but the checkered flag is out in the air, so we'll see if anybody can improve their lap times here. Burgess still out the top of 53.294 this last time around. Nobody improves. Orioli doesn't improve either. O'Gara can't do better, and Lockhart, unfortunately, is going to be beached there on the exit, or the entry will look to be turns number 9 and 10. So unfortunate there for Lennox Lockhart, but these drivers spent the entire time fighting and very little time putting in qualifying laps. So unfortunate there, but yeah, that's pretty much how this one's going to end, as I don't think any of these drivers got an extra lap in the books. They are still pushing, so we'll wait to see, but we will throw up those results when these drivers do come into the pits here in a couple of moments' time, and that is going to be it for them here, if I'm not mistaken here. So we'll wait here a couple of moments, see if they work their way in, and I think they are. So that being said, we'll throw up those results for you guys at home and show you guys the unofficial results here in this Micro Swift qualifying session. Zane Burgess, quickest here in the morning and quickest in qualifying. He's going to start on the pole for all of the heat races. And that's Santi Orioli going to start alongside him. Westbrook third, Francisco fourth, Manalio running up your top 5, Kubinski 6th, Kanache 7th, O'Gara, Katowski, and Gaddis rounding up your top 10. And for Lennox Lockhart, 12th was the best that he could do here in this one. And then there's the rest of the field. Lawrence Perriman as well, one of the other big stories from this one. But a lot happened in that one, Jerry. So we'll take a look here at our Coastal Link printing recap. And it all started early on in this session. A couple of drivers went around. Burgess, Francisco went wide, and everybody had to avoid the Jamaican sensation. Then it all kind of went sideways, literally and figuratively here for Lawrence Perriman. That tire just flew off in a mechanical DNF, putting him way down the order here in the Micro Swift qualifying session. And they continue to fight all the way through, still battling for track position. Francisco and a couple of others as well, still kind of looking to get themselves up. A lot of bumpers being thrown, a lot of haymakers early on in this session, and that wasn't ideal for some of their qualifying sessions, and a lot of moves. It almost seems like we're recapping a race here, Jerry, but this, again, it was qualifying, and then O'Gara and Lockhart just got together there. It seemed like Lockhart was looking to move back over to the left-hand side of the racetrack, but O'Gara was there just close to his rear wheel, and honestly, that crash could have ended a lot worse there in that one. So with that being said, time to shift some gears here. Scott Presti, Jordan Musser on his return to the national karting scene here for the first time this year. They're set to lead us out onto the racetrack. Well, engines are fired. Everybody's starting to roll off here, and Jordan Musser going to lead the field here out of the pits. Scott Presti going to be second out. Nicholas DeAndrea on the Sody Racing USA machine going to be third out onto the racetrack, and Jake Fetter in the fourth spot for the local team of Timmy Tech Kart, and Matt Machiko as well, a driver who's had a lot of pace so far this year, Jerry, and he's a driver that we found ourselves talking about all year long when it comes to this Pro Masters category in the KZ power plant, and as well the Rock power plant for the guys like Mike Rivera, who always gets himself well out of the top 5 on that Rock power plant, and for Skitchy Barnes as well, who finds himself within a good shot of this championship, to say the least. But they're going around the racetrack now, and again, expect this to be a lot like what we saw last night with the Pro Shifters, the Pro Stars here at the Stars Championship Series, of burning a couple of laps, getting those tires up to temperature, and doing almost 2 cool down laps or 2 warm-up laps, and then you do that 1 push lap or 2 push laps to get yourself in the rhythm, that first one, and then a flat-out push all the way through the second lap as well. So expect to see that here a little bit. Again, expecting 2 warm-up laps here from all these drivers, Jerry.
But at the same time, Caleb, with the track having a little bit of rain on it earlier, and maybe the lap times aren't really where the track was, say last night. Some of these drivers might just gun it, right off the rip, and I think it's what we're seeing with Jordan Musser here, just choosing to get right at it as soon as he's on the track, with Scott Presti behind him on that in tow, and on that Ralph Schumacher kart behind him. So yeah, it seems like they're really just choosing to get on the horse and start riding early in this session.
Yeah, we'll see here, and it definitely seemed like throughout the first sector, Musser wasn't probably pushing to the I guess best of his ability, but he will now. And I'm telling you what, I predicted 2 warm-up laps, and you see him pull that radiator flap down, and I think he's going to be on it for sure in this lap, and you see him start to pull away just that little bit from Scott Presti. So we'll see what Jordan Musser can do here throughout this lap. We'll follow him along here, as well as the rest of the field, and Nick DeAndre, who sits in the 4th spot now. Jake Fetter in 3rd after their first warm-up lap. But again, you see just the difference in pushing now, Jerry, how Musser was kind of coasting through turn number 6, and now he's really on it, banging those gears and getting through the corners at a much, much higher speed. Yeah, and behind these two, we got Nick DeAndre making his Masters debut on that Sody Racing USA chassis there, and behind him also the Timmy Tech Kart driver Jake Fetter, behind him currently in the 3rd position, about 9 cents off, but down to the stripe this time by Scott Presti. Jordan Musser not going to be able to improve on their, or yes they are, excuse me, 47.3 for Scott Presti and 47.6 for Jordan Musser. Jake Fetter going to set down a 48.268. Behind him, Nick DeAndre, a 48.4. And still about 4 minutes left here, so I'm sure we're going to see some improvements, before the tires do fall off. But Scott Presti all over the rear bumper of Jordan Musser right now. Oh, one driver was off the racetrack there. That looks to be one of the Sody Racing USA machines, the 601 of Kovacs. Unfortunately for Andor Kovacs, off the racetrack there, but he is able to get back going again. And I don't know what could have happened there to Kovacs. That's a weird spot to kind of end up in, so I'm assuming some kind of mechanical issue, or he found himself off the racetrack. But Musser across the line now, a 45.836 there, Jerry, and for Scott Presti, he improves as well, a 45.917, and I think they're going to burn this lap as well to kind of, save those tires a little bit and have another go at it, a second run you could say if you want to compare it to Formula One. Whenever they go out and do their first run in Q3, then they burn a little bit of time, burn a couple of laps, and then prep for that last little bit of push is probably what we're going to see from some of these drivers. And it won't be ideal to push the entire way throughout the session because, again, you're cooking your tires and putting a little bit more of a heat cycle in them than other drivers like Musser, who, for sure is one of the ones that we're expecting to either come in early or burn a couple of laps. Absolutely, Caleb. And, we're going to see, going on towards those heat races later on, who really saved their tires and, who really used them up. And, I feel like that's going to be, the telltale sign of, did I not, save my tires enough in qualifying? Or, did I not use enough, and, did I leave too much on the table? But, looking here at the timing now, Skitchy Barnes in that P8 overall position is currently leading your Rock Power Plants. Mike Rivera in the 10th overall position, about a 10th off of him. Now across the line, Mike Rivera going to go into that 9th overall position. But right behind Skitchy Barnes on that Marinello kart for the, I believe, the Rock Power Plants. So currently 8th and 9th overall for those two on the Rock Power Plants. But Skitchy Barnes currently leading the Rock Power Plants. About 2 minutes left on the times, Caleb.
What do you think of for pole position?
Yeah, I mean, Scott Presti and Jordan Musser, if you look at the times and the gaps there on the left-hand side of your screen, they're in a league of their own at the moment for that Ralph Schumacher kart and the PSL karting Burrell Art machine. Again, when you look at the caliber of Jordan Musser, a driver who finished second last year at the Super Nationals, he took the fight to Davide Fori, a multi-time world champion as well in KZ categories. And you see what he did last year at the Super Nationals, and you see what Musser continues to do year in, year out. And to do what he does, at any scale and at any level is for sure impressive by Jordan Musser. And you see the gap and almost the clinic that they're putting on the rest of the field here. Machiko and again Federer with a little bit less experience, about half a second back from the time that Scott Presti was able to put down. So those two drivers are for sure the class of the field. And then you have Joe Ruck and DeAndre as well in 5th and 6th, and then Skitchy Barnes in 8th. And it seems like this track has been one of the harder ones for a lot of these drivers to kind of get accommodated to if you're a rock power plant, because the difference is a little bit bigger with all the straightaways and, the difference in, I guess, draft or whatever it may be in power in both of the power plants as well has been different from KZ over to the rock power plant. So, again, you're expecting to see the KZs kind of flourish at a track like this. And for Skitchy Barnes, you might not see him up there in the field like we're used to at other more technical racetracks. It's going to be different this weekend here. But one of the Magic Kart machines, Hugh Templeman, off the racetrack there on what looked to be going into turn number 8, the hairpin. So he's out of the session, but 25 seconds to go in this qualifying session. Everybody has about 7 to 8 laps in. It looks like Scott Presti and Jordan Musser worked their way into the pits early, and exactly what we expected out of those two drivers, to kind of burn those laps and not waste too much tires. And again, there's Hugh Templeman on the wayside. He sits down in 17, so it looks like he wasn't even a turn in a lap. He DNF'd after the first lap, and he didn't turn a second one. So unfortunate there for Hugh Templeman to be out of this qualifying session early here, Jerry.
Yeah, however, timing, the clock's going to come to an end there. Nick D'Andrea raising his hand, going to get out of the way for Matt Machiko to not impede his lap time. I believe we have about 4 or 5 drivers still on a lap. They were able to get back to the green flag to, or it would be the white flag on their last lap, so they're able to continue, but never mind. Matt Machiko going to pull into the pits. His session's going to be over, so he's not going to go any better than 3rd. And seems like Scott Presti Presti coming over the line now. Is he going to improve? No, he is not. But Scott Presti going to take pole position in your Master Shifter class here, Caleb.
That's Warren Von Tock there, who finds himself in the 7th spot on the 668 there. And Nick D'Andrea, a little bit of a practice start for him here. And again, that's going to be critical. Getting the whole shot down into turn number 1, that's going to be a right-hander. Going to be important for all these drivers. But with that being said, your KA Masters, goodness gracious here, Jerry. We've seen so much racing this weekend. I'm tripping myself up. But your Pro Masters and Rock Masters qualifying session has been wrapped up. Again, your unofficial results presented by Shop AKR. Scott Presti, the quickest of the field. Musser, not too far behind, half a tenth in 2nd. Machiko 3rd, Federer 4th, Joe Ruck 5th. And then you work your way down to the first of the Rock Power Plants and Skitchy Barnes in the 509 for Maranello Racing USA. And then you go back to the rest of your field here. Hugh Templeman and Kovacs. Issues for those two drivers, unfortunately, in this qualifying session. That being said, time to go back to our single speed classes here as the rest of your Pro Masters work their way into the pits and into the scales. We look on as the leading edge motorsports machine of Henry here looks set to go out onto the racetrack. So for Davis Henry, it's been a good weekend for him, to say the least, but again, finds himself in that second group of 2. And if I'm not mistaken, the faster group is going to go out right after this. So he finds himself at the front of the second group with a couple of other drivers not too far away. So again, that's one of the critical things as well when you come to stars. It's, there is, you can say LCQs or pre-final Bs on the weekend. So to kind of race your way into the group, it all starts from that happy hour session that we had last night of kind of getting yourself up to speed throughout the first day of practice. And you need to be quick right out of the truck. And that's one of the things that we talk about week in and week out when we come here, Jerry. And we know how hard it is. It's not easy to get fast that quick. And I know you have a lot of experience with that, kind of finding the right setup for whatever it may be to adapt to a track that's going to change as the weekend progresses.
Yeah, Caleb, it's more so knowing what you're rolling off the box with and, being like, okay, if the kart's doing this, I need to go in this direction. And, it's the same thing all around. and about to head out here on track for K100 Junior's first group. And just talk about this a little bit, Caleb. Especially from experience, you don't want to be in that slow group because, you're not able to follow, and chase that rabbit of someone in that fast group. And, it's definitely a lot harder to, be someone like Derek Wargo in the second group, because you're not chasing someone that's going to be running that lap time that's, going to put you in that, top 10 or say top 15. But on the track now, Grayson Knoll going to lead us out for our first group of K100 Junior qualifying.
Bex Cranston's right behind him. And again, for Derek Wargo, he leads the points in the WKA Road Racing National Championship. So to find himself, I guess, further down the order, he's struggled a little bit at the Stars Championship Series. He was racing his way in to the main event. I believe he was in the main event and then unfortunately had a DNF in the pre-final that put him at the tail end of the field starting around 30th for Derek Wargo. So unfortunate for him. And again, we didn't see him unfortunately at the Texas Racing Series at the opening round in his home track of NOLA as he was on some road racing duties. So unfortunate there for Wargo and a couple of others. But yeah, to say the least, I mean, this driver, Wargo's progressed a lot throughout the year, and we'll see what this group can do and who's going to be the best of the rest on this second group. Lap time starting to come in. Henry goes to the top, continues to change. Kennedy Tracy goes to second. And we're looking here trackside with a couple of mechanics and drivers getting set to go out. Chase Gassioli, funny story about him. Yesterday he had issues seeing at night with, I guess, the darkness as well. So opted to go with the tinted visor at the Amy Grand National Championships, and that's when he realized that he had issues seeing at night and had vision issues on what he explained to me was depth perception. So whatever he was looking out there on the racetrack was changing for him, and it wasn't the same as what he was seeing in the daytime. So he was braking earlier, turning in earlier, missing corners, and blown exits or whatever it is because of that depth perception that he had that he didn't know he had until he raced for the first time at night 2 weeks ago at the Amy Grand National Championship. So he said he's struggling at night. He's not confident with racing at night in OKNJ or in the KA 100 Junior category. And we know how important it is to kind of one, be able to see, and two, be able to navigate your way around the field, especially in the K100 Junior class like this one.
Well, Caleb, I may not be a scientist, but I can say for one thing that the clear visor would definitely help Chase Gassioli. As here we get to take a look at Isaac Malquit, little sizzle on grid there, gearing up for his K100 Junior qualifying session after this group here.
Yeah, so Isaac Malquit there on the pit side, and he looks set to make another start later on this year at Cup Karts North America Grand National number 8. That actually just expanded their entries just a little bit more to 116, so you're in. So congrats on that. But everybody else starting to put in some lap times. Nathan Dupuis has found himself in the slow group as well. He goes to the top of the timing charts. Bex Cranston second. Davis Henry to the third spot, and you see the rest of the drivers starting to file their way into the grid. As we look back onto the racetrack here with Henry, Hogan, and Wargo, currently P5. Emerson Lane for the Hodes Driver Development Camp moves up the order, but the 848 with issues here. Connor Corsi, unfortunately, going to be out of this session early, and I don't see much contact there, so it could have been a mechanical for him as well. We just missed it there as we panned away, but there's Nathan Dupuis right behind him. Maui Anjo, who got his first regional race victory with only 2 months of racing experience to his name. And I spoke to team owner Trevor McAllister. He's like, yeah, he's going to learn by going off the deep end here this weekend at the Stars Championship Series and racing with some of the best in the nation. So for Maui, he's done a good job so far to be up there in the order and kind of work his way through the field as well throughout the practice sessions. But for Dupuis, not where we're expecting to see him when we come out to the racetrack. We're expecting to see him at the top like he is now, but just not, where we're used to as Golseth looks on and everybody else as well gets set for their qualifying session. But another driver off the racetrack, one of the Ryan Perry Motorsports machines there. That looks like it's either Noel or D'Antonio there. I think it's going to be Noel. The 844 off the racetrack on the exit of turn number 3. That's going to be an early end to that driver's qualifying session.
Yeah, Caleb, he's only going to do better, no better than 10th for this group, but we still have that second group to come out. And something to mention, Caleb, we seen Dupuis go out on a new set for that warm-up this morning, and he ended up rolling off here at the rear of the grid. So, whether it was whether he was light in the scales or, they made an engine change or, something that was sealed, they changed it. Definitely a change for Dupuis, though. Not too sure what they changed, but, he was new tires this morning, and he was quick this morning, so we'll see what he can do here.
And you see there Enzo Vitamontian and Max Christia getting the last little bit of advice there from Enzo's dad of how to work together, how to keep it clean, and how to push and get yourself in a good position to put in some good lap times, and that's exactly what you need whenever you come out here to Trackhouse Motorplex. Track position is what matters, and last time we were out here, Ty Fisher was the driver that played it out perfectly, moved over to the wayside, played his cards right, and was able to get into the top of the timing charts there and qualified on the pole for the heat races. So they're going to be expecting to do a lot of the same here, and Ty Fisher will be as well. So we look back on with Nathan Dupuis. Hamza Anbar goes up to second. Homer Heeman. Greggy's up to the third spot. Emerson Lane falls back to fourth as they cross the line now. Nobody able to improve. Davis Henry is going to round up your top 5 for now in that leading edge motorsports machine, but we continue to follow around the rest of the field. Henry right behind these two drivers here on screen, so we'll see what Davis Henry can do if he can work his way further up the order in this first half of our K100 Junior qualifying, Jerry.
Yeah, now taking us around the double right-hander here, the turn number 9 complex, and now this little short shoot here down to turn number 10, 11, and 12. We are going to take a look at the times here and see if anyone is able to improve on lap number 7 with about 50 seconds left to go. Hamza Anbar currently on top. We're going to see Davis Henry up into the 3rd position. Derek Wargo is going to jump into that 10th position on that Timmy Tech Comp Kart. And not many more changes throughout the field there. Caleb, we had Dupuis run a 50.2, about a 10 slower than what he had off his best time. And as I say that, Dupuis now to the top in this second group here with a 49.964. So he's going to top this group by about a 10th and a half, and still about 20 seconds to go.
Yeah, still about 20 seconds to go left in this qualifying session for the second of your two, or the first of your two K100 Junior qualifying groups. You're using Anbar and Dupuis working together here, pushing each other along. Emerson Lane there right behind as well. So those are relatively the drivers that are top 5 currently on the order. And the difference there, they have a lot of track position. They have a lot of room to kind of work together and to be in the draft and time it out perfectly. So we look back on with Nathan Dupuis' mechanic there in Liam, and one of Emerson Lane's team mechanics in Tad, as they look on, and Beckett Friesen's dad as well looking on as Hamza Anbar continues to go around. But checkered flag in the air now. Dupuis is going to be quicker than the rest, a 50.022. Anbar going to be, a 49.9464 for Dupuis, puts 2/10 on the field. Anbar second, Henry third, Greggy Heeman in the 4th spot. Emerson Lane rounds up your top 5 for now, and again, we'll wait for confirmation on the checkered flag that looks set to come out here in a couple of moments' time. And again, yeah, a couple of drivers coming in, nobody improving, so that's going to be it for the first half of your qualifying session here. There is your provisional results here in KA100 Junior qualifying B. You go back to Grayson Nolan, the 15th spot, and then you roll on over to the rest of your field. Kennedy Tracy, Maui Angel, Luca Gomez, and Connor Corsi. That's going to be it. But it's time for the rest of the field to work their way out onto the racetrack. Teammate Josh Bergman there, who is going to go out in a couple of moments' time for the Swift Stars qualifying session coming up next. But Enzo Vidmontien still sitting there in his cart. And again, look for these drivers to work together, Jerry. Look for them to kind of push each other along and see what they do. But it's going to be a good one for Chase Gasly again with that depth perception issue at night. So he needs to put himself up at the front of the field early on to leave less work when it comes in when that nighttime rolls around here, Jerry. But and like you said, you're no scientist, but it's going to be an interesting one, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure, Caleb. It's a little bit overcast right now, so I'd say the tinted visor would, either way it would work, clear visor, tinted visor, but he's definitely got on the right visor for now. So we'll be looking to see what Chase Gasly can do in this qualifying session. And you talked about working together, right? I think 2 people we got to take a look at here sometime in this qualifying session is going to be that pair of Race Lab TB carts, Caleb. Ty Fisher and Travis Pettit, we've seen them work together all year long, and it's definitely been good to see for Ty Fisher to have a teammate, to work with him. And we've seen that at the Miami Grands, how he was so fast. And definitely going to be looking to repeat this weekend as we get to take a look on the inside of Chase Gassie.
I don't know why he's laughing, dude. I don't know what's so funny for Chase Gassie. He's about to go out there on the racetrack. You'd expect him to be kind of locked in, but he's just chuckling up here, and you see him kind of start to break, making us laugh up here in the booth, Jerry. I don't know. It's not all fun and games, Chase. I don't know what's so funny. But, yeah, good to see he's in good spirits, and hopefully we'll talk to him later on and see why he's laughing. He's pointing at somebody, so somebody's probably making him laugh right behind him. He's telling our camera guy, Rocco, to turn around.
I'm not sure if Rocco is going to turn. No, Rocco's not going to show us. Oh, here we see. What is it? Oh.
It's Nate Golseth. So these two guys kind of messing around here on the grid, and you see Shaston Johnson as well. Everybody in good spirits, having a good time. And that's one of the big things as well that we talked about this weekend. Everybody's kind of in good spirits, laughing and having a good time. It seems like the pressure has kind of been lifted off of everybody's shoulders, and it's just a good weekend to be back out of the racetrack. We had a good off weekend last weekend. We were obviously over at the Mooresville Country Club of Cincinnati with our grassroots program, and that was cool. But, we're back with the national racing action. For a lot of them that don't do the grassroots, it was just a good week off away from the racetrack, to say the least, Jerry.
Absolutely, Caleb. And, it's time for Chase Gassie to lock in, put that visor down, get that engine started. Hopefully you can see out of the visor and hit that racetrack for our K100 Junior second group. This is what we would call our fast group. And we're going to be hitting the track here in moments' time.
Yeah, as we get set to go out, we look from the sky here as the KA100 juniors get set to go out onto the racetrack. And we'll see exactly who's going to lead them out onto the grid here in a couple of moments' time. So we'll wait here for a couple of seconds as they work their way out onto the racetrack. And again, Jerry, these kids have been impressive all year long. The championship battle in this class as well has ramped up a whole lot throughout the year. But who are you expecting to kind of put it up at the top in this qualifying session, Jerry?
It's hard to not pick those two race lab, those two race lab TB karts. We've seen them work together all year, and I feel like especially with these juniors, Caleb, it's hard to really find a partner, that you're comfortable pushing with. And, I'd say either of those two TB karts would be a good pick. Obviously Enzo Vidmontien has had, such a star banner year. And, as we see Jackson Deal roll out and, all the other drivers behind him roll out here. And, yeah, definitely, Enzo, we talked the Magic Kart boys too. We talked Max Weiland and Gabriel Balog, who I don't believe is here this weekend. And Chase Gassie, it's really just hard to pick, because there's so many guys who could be on pole here.
Yeah, it's definitely a toss-up when it comes down to who's going to be the quickest and the best of the field here in a couple of moments. But, again, for the driver of the caliber of Enzo Vidmontien, who's kind of been up there throughout the entire year, and Christie as well, who's come into his own here at this racetrack at Trackhouse Motorplex. They've had a lot of pace so far this year. Kai Mars as well is one of the drivers that found pace late in the weekend at the Amy Grand National Championships, and he's kind of been up there all weekend long. And you see the Kart Republics working together here. I believe Indy Anderson is also one of the drivers in this group. You have Kai Mars, Max Christia, and Enzo Vidmontien. They're the four drivers kind of in tow and pushing each other along. Deal and others, again, look out for Jackson Deal, Landon Dorr, John Antonino. All those drivers were really, really quick at the Mooresville Country Club of Cincinnati at the Clash at the Club. So they're going to be quick. And we talked to Chase Jones as well earlier on in the day whenever they were kind of making up some time and finding themselves in a good shot to be up there when it came down to the qualifying sessions and in the heat races. Unfortunately, they just couldn't stay away from each other throughout the heat races, where they made a lot of contact as well in the finals. So we'll see if these drivers keep it clean, and they got to talk to from Race Liberante, Braden Eves, and Chase Jones after the race, and Billy Vincent as well, who's on site here this weekend. So we're going to see that team and that tent back in full force. But that being said, enough of that, and everybody's starting to set in some lap times. Enzo Vidmontien, the quickest at the moment. The first real relative lap time that we have, 50.770 for Vidmontien. Golseth second, Malquit third, Jackson Deal fourth, and Forrest Adams rounds up your top five. Again, Fisher and Pettit just crossed the line now. Fisher went up to second. No tow for Fisher, and that's the big difference that he has compared to Enzo Vidmontien and those Kart Republics that are, up in the order. Max Christie, you see him now go up to first, and it shuffles around again. Golseth back up to second. Vidmontien moves up. But the lap times aren't as quick as what we saw in the qualifying Group B. Again, the time to beat for Nathan Dupuis was a 49 .946 if I'm not mistaken there, Jerry. It was around that, so they're going to have to beat that 49.9 lap time that Nathan Dupuis set in if they want to get themselves within a shot of the pole. And again, just under 4 minutes to go left in this qualifying session. Anything can happen, and we'll wait as it continues to progress.
Right, Caleb. And currently on top right now is Ben Abernathy in that 877 Hoach Driver Development OTK kart. You know, I was able to talk to him a little bit yesterday, and you know how he's gearing up for the Route 66 Sprint Series next weekend. He's currently leading the points, and he's got a championship to go attack there. But you know, he said he's felt really good all throughout this year, and you know, he says Trackhouse has been getting better. You know, as we you know, continue to come back here, and he's really excited for this weekend. So currently, bet him down in that 6th position. As you know, the pair of the Race Lab TV karts are now going to go 1-2, and as we cross the line, Chase Gassietly now going to go to the top with the 49.721. Roman McCurdy behind him with a 49.730. Alexander Young, Travis Pettit, Ty Fisher, Max Weiland. And as we see Weiland go down the inside there of Isaac Malquit. Malquit currently in that 9th position, about 2/10 off the pole. And little Ike going to be looking to set down a flyer soon here, Caleb.
Yeah, and again, when you talk about the lap times that Dupuis set earlier on in the day was around a 49.9. And again, these drivers have absolutely destroyed that. Ty Fisher, what a lap by him. Goes 2/10 quicker than the rest of the field. Ty Fisher goes to the top. With him, Travis Pettit not too far off in the 2nd spot. Those two drivers did the exact same thing, and they do the exact same thing every time they go out there on the racetrack. They work together, they push each other along, and it's working out nicely for them. But Henry Taylor set in a good lap. Max Weiland goes to the top, and it all continues to shuffle around here, Jerry. It's going to be a wild, wild qualifying session with just over 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, Caleb, you know, it's so hard to predict who's going to be, you know, on pole, and, you know, even the top 3 in this one, you know, because it's so close. And currently the top 5, you know, about a 1/10.5 between them, all the way down to 10th. You know, it's only 3/10. So, you know, it's ultra close here. You know, I mean, you even go all the way back to 20th, half a second. You know, that's not even counting in, you know, Dupuis' time and, you know, the driver behind him on that Arcan kart as well. So, you know, it's ultra close here with about 1 minute and 50 seconds left. Max Weiland currently on top, but it's real close behind.
Yeah, it's definitely not too far off. We'll see what these drivers can set this time around. Looks like Malquit's on an absolute flyer, so we'll see what he can do. He's down in 16th, and they cross the line now. And again, Malquit goes to the top. Not for long, though. Chase Gassietly, along with Benham Abernathy, worked their way further up the order. Gassietly 4th in line in that Coastal Link Nash Motorsports machine. Then you go up with Benham Abernathy, who's 3rd in line at the moment. He's in 5th. But everybody else still working their way through. Henry Taylor, look out for him to work his way up the order, as well as Ty Fisher and Travis Pettit. So we'll wait for those TB karts to cross the line here in a couple of moments. I think they're in the last sector now, and we'll see what lap they can hit here shortly. But those TB karts are flying here, Jerry, and we've seen them kind of work their way up the order whenever they do cross the stripe. So we'll see what they can set now. Gassietly, Malquit, everybody else getting set to cross the line now. We'll see what Malquit can do. Can Weiland get a better lap? He can. Max Weiland goes to the top. Goes quicker than Chase Gassietly, who drops back to 2nd.
This group here on screen here is Benham Abernathy, Chase Gassietly, Alexander Young, and someone we haven't mentioned too much today, Forrest Adams behind those 3 there. I feel like Forrest has, you know, really had a pretty strong stride the second half of the year. You know, he's just been really, you know, plagued with issues, and you know, hopefully, you know, if they can figure those out, he'll have a lot better of a run. But to the line this time by the 2 Race Lab TV karts. Ty Fisher now to the pole with about 19 seconds left, and right behind him, Pettit didn't really get to improve, but you know, he was able to tow his teammate around to put him up to the top.
Yeah, and I think they just may be out of time. Ty Fisher is going to be the only one that's going to be able to set in another lap. And again, he had a monster tow on that main straightaway, so we'll wait for Malquit and company to cross the line. Time is going to run out, though. We'll see if they cross the line in time. Look out for Weiland, Gassietly, and others to kind of try and go quicker this time around. There's Nate Golseth and a couple of others. They sit 8th. Enzo Vidmontian not inside of the top 10. That's surprising at the moment here, Jerry. And there's the rest of the field and Chase Gassietly, Malquit. They cross the line. It looks like none of them improved. The only one that is yet to cross the line is Ty Fisher, and he's going to pull it into the pits. But for Travis Pettit, unfortunate for him, he's going to run out of time and not get the last lap that he would have wanted. But that could be it here in this qualifying session. If Golseth and company can improve, we'll wait for them to cross the line here in a couple of moments. We'll see if they can work their way up the order. They're the only ones who I think could have gotten a 9th lap in, and they did. None of them are going to improve on lap number 9. And everybody else is into the pits. So that being said, Ty Fisher, the driver on the pole here in KA Junior, and that was a monster lap. He's a 10th.5 quicker than the rest of the field.
Yeah, Max Weiland behind him in second on that Magic Kart. Chase Gastioli in third. Isaac Malquid in fourth on that PSL Karting Burrell Kart. Benham Abernathy on the Hotes DD driver OTK there in the 5th position. Alexander Young there in 6th. Henry Taylor in 7th. Nate Golseth in 8th. Davin Robertson 9th. Travis Pettit, who was able to give tow to his teammate Ty to put him up to the top, is going to be fighting from 5th row outside coming up to these heat races.
Yeah, Kyle Mars finds himself in 11th. Forrest Adams, again, a driver who's been plagued with mechanical issues throughout the year, and as well this morning in the warm-up. Top 12 is definitely what he'd like to see. Antonino's out in 14th. And you go back to the rest of the field here. Enzo Vidmontien just nowhere to be found in that first page. So, man, not where you're used to seeing Enzo. That's for sure a surprise for all of us here, Jerry. But time to go green and qualifying with your Swift Stars that are out on the racetrack now. Ages 10 or a little younger than that nowadays, 9 to 13. And, yeah, all these drivers are definitely going to put on a good show, and you see the games start to be played here a little bit from Royce Vega out at the front. Everybody else kind of trying to slow each other around, and Holden Myers, the driver who sits in third for the Timmy Tech Comcart team. He got his maiden national race victory 2 weeks ago at this very racetrack, and you see everybody still continuing to fight. Benja Fernandez there, Marco Samet not too far off. Parker Odds is in tow. But, man, Jerry, for these drivers, it almost seems like a KA race half the time with the racecraft that they have and, the pack racing that they have as well.
Absolutely, Caleb. We've seen it earlier with the Microswift qualifying, when everyone's just trying to get solid track position. And, and it turns into things like what's going on here with this group on screen with Valentino Santillan and Benja Fernandez, just trying to make those moves early to, find a little bit better track position. But, as here we see one of the Timmy Tech Comcarts pulling over to the side, going to get back in line in 4th. And, continuing here in this qualifying session, Caleb.
Yeah, we continue here in the qualifying session. Myers and company making moves. Bergman there as well. And, again, we talked about this week in, week out, Jerry. The key in these qualifying sessions, you see all the defending, all the moving, all the gamesmanship. At this point in the qualifying session, I'd almost prefer to go out at the back of the pack and not risk going 3 wide like these drivers are doing in a turn number 9, because that's really just burning your laps. And for a guy like Marco Samet, who's quick, we know he has pace, especially at this racetrack, to find yourself trying to hold on to it around the outside as everybody else continues to battle is definitely not ideal.
Yeah, Caleb, if I walked in the booth right now and you told me we were midway through the first heat, I would absolutely believe it.
Yeah.
I don't think, there's any cards spread out anywhere on the track. And, it seems to be just one huge train of, all of these mini Swift drivers. There's a couple drivers moving. Caleb, they're blocking and qualifying. I know what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
This is something else.
Yeah, it's definitely very different. And as well, drivers either blocking or moving over to kind of let others by. And not ideal, to say the least here. A couple of the Kart Republics have found each other, and Bergman and Benja Fernandez as well for the SLA Kart Republic team. Simon Jack Klein not too far back. Ben Gleberman is in the mix, who had a good showing last weekend at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati on the grassroots side of things. But with 4 minutes, it almost seems like they've wasted the first 2 minutes of the session, Jerry, just with all the fighting that's been going on. And it's been a dogfight so far in this one, and you see everybody else to moving. Bashi Jimenez defending from Bergman in a turn number 1, and that's just, there's no point in that in the qualifying session. So just abnormal there from Bashi Jimenez, to say the least.
Yeah, Caleb, it's tough to watch because, we've seen the same thing with Micro earlier. You think some of these kids would watch Micro and be like, okay, maybe it would be smart if, I linked up with one of my buddies at the back and, we just towed off of each other. But, definitely not the case here. But Bowen Green out front seemed to be working for him. Currently on the pole, Royce Vega behind him. Nico Katowski on that J&M Sodi there. Callan Berghoff for Valentino Santillan. Braden Wagner on that GFC, currently in the 6th position. Holden Myers, Ben Gleberman, Parker Stewart, and Simon Jack Klein in that 10th position with about 3 minutes and 15 seconds on the board.
Yeah, and you see the difference, that big midfield scrum with Josh Bergman and company. They're not making up too much time with all the battling that they're doing, but the likes of Berghofer, Katowski, Fernandez, and Myers, Green, and Vega, they find themselves with good track position. You see Vega and Myers kind of, all right, I'll tow you around for 1 lap, but you better do the same to me, and I'm going to pass you, and you better let me get ahead of you now. See, Katowski's in this group as well. He finds himself in the 2nd spot for the J&M Racing team, and that's exactly what they need. Berghofer is just at the tail end of this group in his AKT Energy Kart, so they're doing a good job to not fight it out too much. Again, you want to get a good lap, you want to be competitive, but not trip over each other's toes or step on each other's toes, to put it in better words. So they're doing a good job to say the least here, but Berghofer there and Katowski go side by side there for a moment. Just under 2.5 minutes to go left in this qualifying session, and we'll see how it continues to progress. Can anybody improve? Vega improves. He's up to 4th. Green went up to 5th. Nicholas Mose, welcome up to the top 5. He's up to 4th. And Josh Bergman finally able to set in a lap. He's up to 3rd.
Yeah, and here we see, I believe that's Royce Vega pulling off to the side. He's saying, okay, well, now that I led for the lap, I want to get back into the tow. So he's going to pull off and let a couple of karts by, and he's going to slot in right in front of what I believe was Bowen Green. And now we see on our screen Josh Bergman on that TKG Trinity kart there. And behind him, Benja Fernandez on that SLA Karting KR there. And I feel like, that group there, and behind him with Marco Samet, and then, in front of this group at the same time as Valentino Santillan, kind of in a little bit of cleaner air. So, I feel like they're set up really well for this last lap, but it looks like Marco Samet has pulled up to this group here, so he should be on a flyer coming to the line this time by.
Yeah, it seems like Marco Samet has a good cushion ahead of him and behind him to kind of set in a lap, so we'll see where they can improve. And just like we said, you put yourself in a good track positioning, you're going to put yourself in a good qualifying position as well. Marco Samet's up to 3rd. Nicholas Mose goes up to 2nd. And Alyssa Eddy, it looks like, in the 100, if I'm not mistaken here, goes around there on the exit of turn number 12. So unfortunate there for Alyssa going around and putting her way down the order here in this one. But everybody else are working together and doing a good job, to say the least, inside of the top 10. Vegas still leading this group out. Myers right behind him. So we'll see what they can do. Nicholas Mose is one of the drivers that we haven't talked about too much in the CRG machine. Privateer operation for him and his family. But there's Bowen Green off the racetrack there, and that's not what you want to see. That was, the 154 of what was Cade Wolf, if I'm not mistaken. Cade Wolf, indeed, down in 15th. The Timmy Tech Comp Kart's going to be out of this qualifying session early. So unfortunate there for Cade Wolf, and he's going to look on as his teammate continues to lap around in Green and in Holden Myers. And again, those helmets are very similar, so pardon the mistake there. Don't want to give a heart attack to anybody on the fence line there as they look on. So unfortunate there for that driver, but this is going to be it. The last couple laps as Gleberman goes wide. Ives going to go through, and this is going to be the last lap in this qualifying session. Checkered flag. Time is up. Checkered flag will be in the air this time around, so we look on as Ives looks to improve his lap. He's only 7th quickest at the moment. Right behind him, 2 teammates in the Ryan Perry Motorsports camp. But this is going to be it. Into the last corner here. Can anybody improve? Samet going to go through now. Not going to be enough. Nicholas Mose going to go to the top here late in this one. Nicholas Mose, how about that for the CRG machine? A 52.129 for Nicholas to go to the top. Berghofer 2nd, Marco Samet 3rd, Fernandez 4th, and Josh Bergman going to round up your top 5.
Yeah, behind Bergman, Nico Katowski on that J&M Sodi. Parker Ives only able to pull 7th out of this session, but I'm sure we're going to see that kid work his way forward later on today. Bowen Green, Holden Myers, Parrot Timmy Tech Comp Karts P8 and 9. Royce Vega going to round out your top 10. Valentino Santillan on that that Parallel there in 11th. Isaac Payne. Ben Gleberman, who we've seen sideways there on that last lap. Braden Wagner on that GFC there. Cade Wolf, who we've seen go out early. Simon Jack Klein, Anthony Mazzuccolo. Cameron Johnson, a little bit of a struggle qualifying here, about 7/10 off. P18 for him. We're going to hopefully see him work his way forward as well. Bryson Scales, William Vitor, Bashi Jimenez, Riley Dabbler, and that Timmy Tech Comp Kart, who we've seen go out early. I believe he only going to be P15 for Cade Wolf.
Yeah, unfortunately there. And again, look down the order, find where your favorite driver is going to start. But before we head in to your KA Stars qualifying session, Group B, we'll take our quick commercial break in this qualifying session. When we come back, we're going to catch up where this Group B is going to qualify. You're watching Kart Chasers live coverage of the Stars Championship Series Night Fight. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today. Maryland USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Welcome back here as your KA Stars have now got on. Oh, one driver went around there going into turn number 4. It seemed like the tire warm-up there just a little bit too excessive for the 927 of what looked to be Comerford there. That was quite weird there, and that shows you why you need to tiptoe your way out of the grid and be very careful whenever you're warming up your tires and not do too many excessive, swerving moves to kind of get that temperature up. But, Jerry, that was a wild way to cut me off there, to say the least, from that driver. Goodness gracious, walk us through that there.
Right, Caleb. I mean, you come out of the pits, you got that, first little layer of oil, you need to get the tire temps. You got to work in the tire temps, and, that little layer of, oil glazing.
Yeah, on the stickers, yeah, correct.
Yeah. Once you work it in, the tires are there. You'll have that, ideal level of grip. But, when you're first 5-6 corners, the cart feels loose almost.
Yeah.
Until you get that temp in and, you overstep and you lose your footing.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get a replay on that here in a couple of moments' time. So we'll see whenever we get that up. But, goodness, that was a wild way to start. And for sure not how you want to start. Obviously going to scare you a little bit. We'll take a look at our shop, akr.com replay. And, again, just warming up the tires there. Look at the Sody Racing USA machine. Goes right, goes left, and a little bit too much left. That sends him around. So, unfortunate there. For that driver to find himself facing the wrong way. Brandon Comerford there, unfortunately for him, he's down in 20th now, and not where he'd like to be. Obviously, no draft for that driver, finding himself facing the wrong way, so not where you'd want to be. And again, that draft is going to be critical, especially in this KA senior class, not to step on anybody's toes, but to be there in the fight nonetheless. And again, a couple of notables in this group, Jerry. Mick Gabriel, Hudson Brown, two drivers that are quick in this KA senior class. Mick Gabriel already with a win to his name and a lot of heat race victories to his name here at the Star Championship Series. He won in Wisconsin at the Badger Kart Club, but this weekend just we know he's struggled with some motor issues in the past, so could be that. I don't want to speculate too much. And for Hudson Brown as well, kind of strange to see him in his home track. He beat the rest of the field here about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Won his first KA senior and two-stroke race in the senior category at the very strong Trackhouse Motorplex Club Series. So just strange to see Hudson Brown in this in the slow group coming out into this qualifying session, Jerry.
Yeah, right, Caleb. We've seen him pretty quick this morning. Into the top 10 as Hudson Brown pulls off to the side there to get some tow from his teammate Mick this weekend. And, something else to mention, Seamus McKendry, struggled a little bit yesterday, had a little bit of a tangle, I believe, coming out of the turn 8 hairpin. And, it seems like he, as long as, we talk like Forrest Adams, just being plagued with issues and, accidents here and there, I feel like Seamus has had, the same issues there. And, he'll definitely be looking to, put himself out of the slow group, going into the heat races. But first lap's coming through. Seamus McKendry right up to the top. Christian Menezes behind him. Byron Daly, Killian Spears. Nick Gabriel still warming up the tires there, 51.4. And behind him, veteran TJ Coyne on the best card into that 6th position as now Mick goes into the P2 P2 position. And a little bit of intel there from Emery Lada. TJ Coyne is a former USPKS winner here at Trackhouse Motorplex. So thank you for that, Emery. And 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the board here, Caleb.
Is TJ old enough to race Masters now? Is he opting to stay in senior? I think he is. So, but again, a lot of respect to TJ Coyne this weekend, and all year he's had good senior starts, and a lot of drivers like our very own Xander Clemens has sworn that he's never going to race Masters. TJ Coyne probably in that same mindset, but to be quick and to take the fight to the rest of these young guns who are here wheel banging and racing side by side week in, week out. It's good to kind of take the fight to that younger group and taking a school a little bit, I could say there for TJ Coyne, to say the least. But back on the racetrack, everybody else still looking to work their way past. Seamus McKendry gets through on what looked to be Aiden Shimbashi there, if I'm not mistaken, in that JMF factory cart. And indeed, Shimbashi down in 14th at the moment in that factory cart. McKendry looking to make a move, and a little bit of wheel bang in there, side-by-side action on what looked to be Manning there. A little bit of wheel banging in between the 969 there, Frederick Manning and Seamus McKendry. Looked like Manning just dropped the tire there going into turn number 8 and swerved over to the left to kind of stay out of the grass and not rim ride the I guess, asphalt, and just went in to Seamus McKendry. And I thought we were panning over to see somebody off the racetrack there, Jerry. I got scared there for a second. Goodness gracious. A minute and a half left in this qualifying session.
I was afraid we were going to see a tire or something, Caleb. I didn't know what we were...
Getting PTSD flashbacks here, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm not sure to what we were going to see there, but it looks like we were just panning over a little too early. But, yeah, Seamus McKendry now around Frederick Manning, and that other driver there now in the clean air. He's going to be looking, pick up a couple more tenths. But, Caleb, this is only our first group. With a minute left on the board, we still have another group to go. Hudson Brown currently on the top with Nick Gabriel behind him. But, I feel like with Hudson and Mick working together, definitely towing off of each other right here now as they are on the screen, it's definitely going to be beneficial to, maximize what they can out of their karts and engines here. Because, with this second group on track and, a little bit of track development, from, time to time, that second group's probably going to go, a little quicker than, what they could have, say if they were on the track right now. So, definitely going to be trying to maxing what they can here in this first group with 30 seconds left on the board. Seth Stowe in that Timmy Tech Comp Kart, who we've seen earlier this morning with a little bit of struggles, currently in that 9th position. TJ currently in that 7th position, and a lot of karts still on track here with 20 seconds to go.
Yeah, still everybody out there on the racetrack and trying to put in some laps for Mick Gabriel and Hudson Brown as expected. We're expecting to see him up there in the order. Seamus McKendry as well, one of those, and for Christian Menezes as well, who's in 4th. Those are drivers who have contended for top 10 finishes all year long. Hudson Brown as well at the Charlotte Motor Speedway was quick, but just something amiss for them, and that's going to be some work for us to do to find some intel. But checkered flag in the air here for all these drivers, and that's going to be it for their session. Brown the quickest, Gabriel second, and a couple more of the BJR MDR drivers crossing the line now. Nobody improving as of yet, but that's going to be it for them. And Group B going to come out here in a couple of moments' time, but we'll pull up those results for you guys at home to look. Seth Stowe rounded up your top 10. Chase Adams in 8th. TJ Coyne in 7th. Byron Daly 6th on the best cart. And then you go back down the order with Frederick Manning, Christian Valverde, Jake James, Evan Santaniello, and Aiden Shimbashi, your top 15. There's a couple of more drivers, my mistake there, that are down the order as well. Chris Harrower, a driver that we're used to seeing up the order, so that's unfortunate there for Harrower. Peyton Klein down there in 20th, Eric Ostlund, Brandon Comerford, who went around early on in this one, and Vance Bowersock there as well. So a couple of drivers struggling here in this one, but This is going to be, I guess, one of the last sessions that they have under the light here, or I guess you can't even say sunlight because the sun's not even out, but they're going to have to channel some inner Bruno Mars later on tonight and start talking to the moon later on. And we're not good singers, but I wouldn't even try to sing that song. Or they're going to be racing in the rain. There's an old song as well that goes, "I'm singing in the rain." I'm not gonna sing the rest of it because I don't know the rest of it. But you're either going to be racing in the rain or talking to the moon later on tonight. And I don't know. Which one would you prefer? Are you more of an old school guy with racing in the rain or talking to the moon?
Well, Caleb, I haven't really done much night racing in my career. I've only done about one night race, which was at this little track called Sugar River Raceway in Wisconsin. We ran a race there about 30 degrees outside I believe last December. So I would definitely say I'm a singing in the rain type of guy, especially for this weekend. So and I like the rain myself. So definitely singing in the rain.
We don't get many 30-degree days in Texas. So I've done my fair share of night racing, but that's because it's much hotter there. We do a lot of night racing at our club series as well at Seasports Racing Park and wherever else we may go. NTK as well has a lot of night races around, but we don't spend too much time, I guess, racing in the rain because it rains very little, and when it does, it always seems to be on a night race, so you do a little bit of both. You race in the rain at night. But enough said about us. These drivers are superstars out on the racetrack now, the KA Stars, as we follow along with one superstar here, Brandon Lemke, who has had a lot of pace so far this weekend. He's been one of the drivers to look out for all weekend long, but the BJR MDR drivers as well have taken the fight up there. Aiden Hatcher, Jared Clark, Ben Gaunt, James Overbeck, all with a lot of pace so far this weekend. And it starts to shuffle. Hamill's at the top of the timing charts. Lucas Zabo, Daniel Perez, Hatcher, and Overbeck. Your top 5 so far. Look out for Jake Drew, the shoe, to kind of work his way up the field. And he's working with Finnegan Bailiff at the moment. So look out for those two veterans to kind of push each other along here in this one and toe off of each other on the main and back straightaway here, Jared.
And a couple of rookies I want to talk about here early on in this qualifying session. Well, I still have the time. I want to talk about Carson Sauter into this fast group here on the Factory Fury GP Kart there, currently in the 16th position. I was able to make my way over there and talk to AJ Nowd yesterday. And, they've been saying they've been putting in a lot of work on their KO100 program. And, they feel like they finally have something to, go run in the midfield at the front this weekend here. And, a couple of other rookies. Not really rookie, but Jackson Wolney, currently into that 6th position. We've seen him all year. We've seen him at the Queen City Gambit. And, dibbling and dabbling in senior here and there. And, Noah Jackson's been up on the up recently. Andrew Hamill. Daniel Perez has been really impressive this weekend. But, one of the veterans we've seen, Jake Drew on that GFC, it's good to see him back this weekend.
Yeah, Jake Drew for sure back, and he looks to kind of get himself back with more kart races on his schedule. Obviously a busy TA2 schedule for him as well in that Trans Am series, but everybody else still lapping around the lap times now. The quickest lap in the morning warm-up sessions was a 49.1. Jake Drew ran a 49.5, so expect that time to continue to go down as this qualifying session progresses. They cross the stripe now. Lemke goes up to 5th, Isambard to 6th, and there is James Overbeck, a 49.244. Oliver Piatek joins him up there, a BJR 1-2. Perez goes up to 3rd, Hamill to 4th, and Jake Drew falls back to the 5th spot. You see them start to pass each other, so that's going to be a burner for Overbeck.
Yeah, and this morning, Caleb, me and Xander were announcing, I believe, the first group that went out for warm-ups, and about half of the top 10 was BJR MDR LN karts. And, including the likes of James Overbeck, Oliver Piatek, Ben Gaunt, not Ben Gaunt, Jared Clark, and I feel like Jared currently in 6th. I talked to him yesterday. He feels like he has the pace to, run up at the front. He just really needs, that first show out weekend to, build up that confidence to, be able to do it, wherever he goes across the country. And, now into this first corner here, Bailiff going to go down the inside of Isambard. Jake Drew going to try to follow him, but not going to be able to get it there.
A couple of North Carolina locals here in Jake Drew, who's pitting out of Drew James's garage here this weekend alongside Drew's brother as well. So they're still working together. And you talk about, I guess, pitting out of your garage. Hayden Jones, another one of those drivers. He unfortunately isn't inside of the top 10 just yet. But look for him. And as I say that, he goes up to 2nd. He's a 1,000th of a second off from James Overbeck still, who went quicker the last time around, a 49.079 for Overbeck. Jones goes up to 2nd. a 49.080, 1,000th of a second, the difference in between these drivers. And how about the rookie? Jared Clark is up to third, and a couple of other movers and shakers. Brandon Lemke only 19th at the moment. Isambard only 15th. And you go up the order as well with Noah Jackson, Jackson Warney, 12 and 13th. Drivers that you're expecting to be quicker than what they are right now.
Yeah, and with about 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in this qualifying session, there's only about 1,000 between James Overbeck and Hayden Jones at the top. Both of their respective lap times putting them first and second right now. Aiden Hatcher on that BJR MDR card up into third. Carter McMurray to fifth. Hayden Jones to the point.
Hayden Jones goes to the top by 1,000th of a second over James Overbeck. And that was a big shuffle there, Jerry. We saw that entire left-hand side of our screen kind of shuffle around. You saw Hatcher get up there. Clark got up there. More drivers cross the line now. Piatek going to move up inside of the top 10. Andrew Hamill as well. Finnegan Bailiff, who looks to challenge for the championship here this weekend. He's only 13th. Jake Drew is in 12th. And everybody else continuing to shuffle through. And there you see Isambard pulling off to the wayside. Going to leave Bailiff by himself and put himself in a better position to kind of draft off of James Overbeck here. But this is all going to change. I have no idea who's going to end up at the top here. So it's all going to continue to ramp up here with just under a minute and a half to go left in this qualifying session. They're going to get about 2 laps if this group can make it across the line in time here, Jerry.
Yeah, absolutely, Caleb. About a minute left to go on the board. And, you take a look down these times here. You go all the way down to about 17th, 18th, where Noah Jackson is on that TKG Trinity card. It's only about 4 tenths, Caleb. About 19 positions. You pick up 2 tenths when you're in that 19th position, you could be thrown into the top 10. That just attests to how competitive here it is at the Stars Championship Series.
No, it's competitive for sure, as Overbeck now going to look to get himself in a better position when he gets into that last lap. Wants to get ahead there of Warney, as Overbeck probably knows the speed he has at hand. And Jones as well going to get through bumper here of Raheem Alibi, former teammate, and Luke Welcome as well. So we'll see how those two drivers work together. McMurray goes up to third. Jones can't improve his lap. Overbeck still back by 100th of a second here, and they're going to work their way through. Again, a pass this late in the qualifying session isn't going to help you out, and this side-by-side as well won't help out either with just 12 seconds to go. So we'll see what these drivers can do. Again, time is running out, and they can see the timer whenever they cross that start-finish straight. All to play for here is Jones going to make a pass now on Raheem Alibi, and just going to run out of time to get in another lap. McMurray goes through as well, but checkered flag is going to be in the air this time out. Look out for Overbeck and a couple of others to cross the line here in a couple of moments. Hayden Jones going to dive into the pits as well as Raheem Alibi. McMurray going to cross here shortly. I don't think he's going to improve, and he doesn't. Overbeck, the only other driver that can go quicker than Jones. He's still out there on the racetrack. Seems like he was in a good position behind Jackson Warney if he didn't get caught up in that big gaggle of go-karts there. And he is at the front ahead of Warney now, and they're all going to dive into the pits. There's Drew, Clark, and a couple of others, and that's going to be it. Can Clark improve his lap and pull one out of the bag? Not going to be enough there for Clark, so that's going to be it. Hayden Jones, the fastest driver on the racetrack, of 49.066, and that's the official track record here at Trackhouse Motorplex in KA. Hayden Jones, track record holder and the pole position holder here this weekend in KA Stars. James Overbeck across the line second, Carter McMurray, the rookie, third, Hatcher fourth, and Jared Clark. You talk about 2 rookies inside of the top 5. There you have it for the BJR MDR LN Kart and the Timmy Tech Com Kart.
And behind him, Caleb, someone we haven't talked about too much this weekend, Luke Welcome, able to qualify into that 6th position. Behind him, Oliver Piatek in 7th. Jake Drew only able to peak out in 8th. Drew James, a solid run for him in the 9th position. Andrew Hamill going to round out your top 10. Behind him, Raheem Alibi in that Rocket Racing group there. And P number 12, Daniel Perez. P number 13, Finnegan Bailiff. Lemke only able to get 14th. I would say it was like a rough run for him, but it's only 3 tenths. It's not that far off. Rookie Jackson Wolney in P15, Alan Isambard P16, Mateo Pappas, Jackson, Zabo, Fisher, Frank, Nachman, Gaunt, Trachtenberg, Sauter, Mast, and we are already rolling off for our OKN Junior qualifying.
Yeah, and Davin Roberts late to the grid here, so look out for that. He's currently, they're just now going to put his cart down on the grid, so We'll see what changes they decided to make, but that Ryan Perry Motorsports camp just slow to get back on, so we'll see if they get fired up first try. Wonder what changes they're making. Nate Golseth as well going to be late. He's just rounded the corner here with his go-kart, so they made some changes as well to Nate Golseth's machine for the Arcade Motorsports camp, and they're going to be late out onto the track as well, and it looked like it was going to be one more driver, but it wasn't. And they're going to set those tire pressures really quickly there. Shaston Johnson, Mr. Roberts there as well. So Nate Golseth is going to be the last driver out onto the racetrack. And again, this could either be make or break for your qualifying session here, Jerry. And we saw yesterday with Qualy and Caleb Gaffera kind of working together to set in a good lap time. And it seemed to work out for them, but we'll see what Nathan Golseth can do if he can get himself within a draft. We know these do have rev limiters, so we don't know how much it could be ideal. But Golseth with his hands on his head, it seems like he was all right. Just I guess showing that he was in good spirits. So going out onto the racetrack, he makes it out now. But the first couple laps going to start to come in. And this qualifying session is just getting started.
And this morning we've seen about half a second cover, these 7 drivers here. And, ultra close, although we are a little low on entries, around this time of the year. We're about to hit that point where, the second half of the season has hit, and, we're about at the end of that stride. And, we'll be looking towards the SCUSA Super Nationals at the end of this year. We still have another USPKS event at Newcastle, I believe. But, a little low on the entries, but, still going to be very competitive, very entertaining, as Malquit currently at the point with about 5 minutes left here, just getting started. John Antonino currently in that second position. Max Weiland now across the line, going to put his magic card into that second position, going to put Antonino down to third, Caleb.
Yeah, Malquit out there looks like he's ahead of the rest of the field. He has 2 laps in the books, and he is. John Antonino's right behind him in that MPG Academy machine. And you go Max Weiland, that's further back or further ahead, away from these guys. And again, just finding yourself with good track position, putting yourself in a spot where you can push and be comfortable pushing is going to be ideal for a lot of these drivers, to say the least. So we'll see what Malquit can do here on this second lap for him at full song. And he does improve a 47.038. Antonino goes up to second, a 47.263. Right behind Isaac Malquit, and it all continues to shuffle. Gassiet Lee's now up to third. Sebastian Rist moves up, and Mad Max Weiland goes up to second now on his second lap at full song. He just went second fastest with a 47.097 in this qualifying session. But we'll follow around with Isaac Malquit for one lap and see what he can do here, and if he can go even quicker than what he just did.
Yeah, and now it looks like we're picking up Sebastian Rist and Chase Gassiet Lee there. Now back to Isaac Malquit and John Antonino. And to talk a little bit about track position, I really feel like Antonino is in the prime spot right now. He's able to have that rabbit in front of him to chase, and a little bit more extra motivation. Really push the kart into these corners and carry that speed out. But not only that, we have a little bit of that toe effect. At the same time, Gassiet Lee over the line now, not going to be able to improve. Neither is Sebastian Rist. Sebastian Rist lap time last time by was a 47.577. So only about 2 100ths off of his last best time. But Rist in the toe of Gassiet Lee and Antonino in the toe of Malquit. So I feel like those 2 drivers are in a pretty solid spot right now as Davin Roberts goes into the 5th position and Nate Golseth behind him in the 6th position.
Yeah, Isaac Malquit just put 2 tenths on the rest of the field, and you see it there on the left-hand side of your screen on the ticker there on the left-hand side. 2 tenths of a second, the gap to Isaac Malquit from John Antonino. And again, that could change whenever it comes to racing action. And obviously with the rain looming in the air, that could bring the field a lot closer. But when you look at that, and if you're anybody else that is looking to contend with Malquit, you're kind of scratching your head here as Gassiet Lee and that Coastal Link Printing Nash Motorsports machine just went up to second. So that's a good lap there by Gassiet Lee. He's a 10th off now from Malquit, who I'm not sure if he's still out there on the racetrack. We haven't seen him here yet, and he is, I should say, he is on his 5th lap, 6th lap now starting. So he wasn't able to go quicker than he did before. He was about 2 tenths off of his fastest lap. His qualifying session, he's still right ahead of John Antonino, who sits in the 5th spot, running up the top 5. But again, for these drivers, we saw, not all of the OKN pro OKN drivers chose to do the entire session. And if you're, relaying back information to some of the younger drivers that you're racing with, either Henry Wheeler or Ramos, Silly Malquit, you don't have to do all the laps. Get in a good lap early on and then, bring it in and save the tire or save whatever you need to save the equipment as well. As Gassiet Lee now goes up to the top. a good lap there by Chase Gassioli at 46.786. He's a couple of hundredths quicker than Malquit. Golseth now goes up to 4th. Roberts going to retake that spot, go up to 4th. Golseth back to 5th. Malquit fell back to 2nd. So, scratch whatever I said before. Isaac Malquit needs to sit in a good lap time now.
Yeah, absolutely, Caleb. He's sitting pretty comfortable there, for a while. But, now Gassioli, Weiland, Roberts, Golseth, I feel like their karts are really into the racetrack now. And, either, last time by or this next time by is going to be that money lap for, all of the drivers that are out on track. Sometimes you think, when you set a flyer too early, you might be thinking, oh, did we go too high on tire pressure? Is the kart too tight? And hopefully that's not the case for Ike, but, with only about 2.5 tenths separating this top 6, it's ultra close. And, even this morning it was about half a second covering the entire field. And 2 tenths here between the top 6 is really close field here in Okean Jr. as Davin Roberts is going to take that P3 position from Max Weiland. And here on screen now, Max Weiland on that Magic Kart heading into turn 8 behind Sebastian Rist. Get in late on the brakes and exit out of that corner there.
Yeah, he's going to make it out of that corner. So Max Weiland with just 30 seconds to go. He sits 4th here. And again, Max Weiland was contending for a win at the Clash of the Club, and then contact with him and Chase Gassioli stalled both of their engines. Gassioli crosses the line now. He can improve. A tenth slower than his quickest lap. Malquit can't improve either. Roberts still yet to cross the line, but 15 seconds left in the session here, and nobody is improving their lap times. We haven't had a personal best in quite some time. The last one that we had was just now with Golseth, but there goes Roberts now, finally improving. He's up to the 2nd spot. Malquit falls back to 3rd. And for Gassioli in turn number 8, he just has to kind of keep it clean. He's still ahead, but only by 200ths of a second, so we'll see if he can go even better this final lap, Jerry.
Yeah, Caleb, and even with Roberts being a little late to the grid, and the same with Golseth, Roberts is a little bit of a bigger build. Is now Gassioli to the line here. Is Gassioli going to go any better? No, he is not. Weiland to the line, Sebastian Rist to the line. Are either of them going to improve? No, they are not. But back to what I was saying with Roberts and Golseth. I think Roberts has a little bit of a bigger build. He's able to force a little more G's into the track. And, I feel like that definitely benefited him a little bit. And Roberts and Golseth to the line, neither of them going to be able to improve on their 9th lap. And I believe Isaac Malquit is going to be our last driver on a flyer here.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, he is on his 9th lap, so I'm not sure. He was the first one out on the racetrack, and it looks like he is going to bring it into the pits. So that is going to be it here for your OKNJ qualifying session. Chase Gassioli quickest on this qualifying session. Robert 2nd, Malquit 3rd, Mad Max Weiland 4th, Nate Golseth P5, Antonino 6th, and Sebastian Rist rounding up your 7 drivers here in OKNJ. And again, that being said, it's time to shift on over and switch gears to the OKNJ. But before that, let's hear from some of the drivers that we spoke to 2 weeks ago on Casey's Grid Talk. Paulie Massimino had some words about the Stars Championship Series night fight here this weekend.
On my end, I got one more question for you, Paulie. And you were mentioning kind of working with your dad the last years and also kind of keeping it fun. But how special is it that he's been kind of along with you for the journey over the last however many years that you've been in karting, for over a decade? And kind of you've seen your growth in the sport as well as kind of your role now, where it's kind of the hybrid between coaching and then also still having success in your own end.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been amazing. My dad is the one that introduced me into the sport. He got me started, and he's been there every step of the way. So he's always there to help. Even now, I'm 21, but if I ever needed something, he's always there to help me. He's there to guide me. Obviously, he has his own business, so he's been through stuff like that. So if I have any questions, he's the guy I go to. But even with him working for me throughout the years, it's been amazing. Obviously, we butt heads. I feel like everyone does. But at the end of the day, we leave the weekend, and we're just glad we're both there doing it together. Just because, as you grow up, you move on with life. You start having kids, a family, and then, you don't see your parents as much. So trying to do this now with him, and in the past when we've done it together, I've appreciated it all the way through. Just because I know it's not a forever thing. And I don't regret it. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't have anybody else work on my stuff. If I could have him there every single time, every single day, I would. I think he's the best guy on the job for me. He knows me the best. He knows how to work on my kart the best. Even if I'm butting heads with Brandon, he'll just change something because he knows how to drive. So if he didn't want to do it right now, you guys probably wouldn't see me in karting anymore. I do it to spend time with him as well, not all of it, but as much as, trying to win races and stuff like that. Half of it is because of spending that time with him.
Paulie Massimino on what his relationship was with his dad and what it means to him to be able to spend time with him week in, week out here at the racetrack. And that was a very heartfelt moment, and that's, I guess, his, drive week in and week out. And this weekend finding himself well within a shot of a Stars Championship Series championship on, what's been a wild year for Paulie. He wasn't slated to even race this series. He was just going to coach for the BJR MDRLN kart team with his, Brandon Jarczyk, and then the call came from Cardinals Racing Engines to race this weekend, or to race the first round at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and he was able to get that ride together and set up a go-kart for himself and coach as well on the side. So he was able to get himself there, and he won the opening round on what was a battle all the way to the end with Nicholas Terlecki, and now those two drivers find themselves fighting for the championship here this weekend. And again, a couple of other drivers as well looking to spoil the party. Diego Ramos isn't too far off. And as well for Henry Wheeler, who is in the fight after a huge win for him at the Clash at the Club not too long ago. But on the Thursday afternoon, it was all about the kid at the front, the 54 Leading Edge Motorsports machine of Caleb G, who qualified on the pole and going to start at the front of the field on the inside for both of the Pro Motos later on today. So again, look out for Caleb G to be up there and to be quick. Well, just like he was yesterday. And, when you talk about Paulie, when you talk about Caleb Gaffera, those are two drivers that have a lot of experience at their home racetrack in Trackhouse Motorplex.
Yeah, absolutely, Caleb. We talk about some of the locals here, like you said, Paulie, Caleb Gaffera, and, there's just so much talent out at Trackhouse Motorplex, in general. But, this warm-up session here, everyone just making sure their equipment is okay and good to go for, all the sessions today, making sure nothing's going to fall off the kart. As, we've seen with Lawrence Perriman earlier in qualifying, just shaking everything down, making sure you're all good to go for the day. But, Gaffera, Paulie, Nick Terlecki, Diego Ramos, it's just, so close in the points. I believe the top 5 are within, it's like 80 points or something, Caleb. It's, super close. And, this weekend we are going to crown a new champion at the Stars Championship Series for, obviously every class. But, I feel like, the 2 pro classes are going to be really interesting. OCAN is obviously a lot closer than Pro Shifter, but OCAN points, you got 71 points across the top 5.
Yeah, 71 points across the top 5, and it's been super close. Gaffera obviously sits in that 5th spot. Wheeler with a win to his name already on the year. He sits in the 4th spot. Massimino's 35 points back from Terlecki. And then you go up to Ramos, who's only 8 points back from Nicholas Terlecki. And again, Ramos doesn't have a win on the year. He's just been super consistent every single week, and he's done a good job all year to kind of be on the podium and be in the fight every single week. And for Nick Terlecki as well, he's been consistent, had a good showing at Charlotte, and then had a good win, a commanding win to his name at Newcastle Motorsports Park for the King of the Castle, and one driver there, the National Motorsports machine of Gavin Wardle off the racetrack. So 69, not going to be able to finish this one. That looks to be in turn number 3, so some sort of mechanical probably put him out of this one. But again, a lot of drivers in the fight. You have the 2 Burrell Art machines that have been consistent all year long to get themselves in the fight here this weekend, as Caleb Gaffera going to work his way through, and we're going to follow him along here from this aerial shot. And there's Gavin Waters' machine off the racetrack. But it's been a wild year for these OKN Pro guys. And again, the reigning champ, Brandon Kart, after round number 1, decided not to run the rest of the year. And that kind of, left Henry Wheeler with a little bit of a fire in his belly after coming so close last year, finishing 2nd. And again, he finds himself well within a shot, but you have guys like Massimino at his home track and a couple of others. It's going to be hard to kind of take the fight up there, and especially for Terlecki, who has had a good pace, especially yesterday as well.
Oh, absolutely, Caleb. And, to talk about later on today, I'm going to pull up this OKN Stars qualifying from yesterday. We got Gaffera on the pole next to Paulie, as Paulie points to Nick Terlecki there to get some toe and, get a read on Nick. And Nick's going to be starting 4th in our first heat race today. Our first, I believe it's the Pro Motos, right, Caleb?
Correct.
Yeah, and 3rd position is going to be Ramos, and behind him on the inside row is going to be Henry Wheeler. So PSL inside row 3 and inside of row number 5. And then we got next to Henry is going to be Aiden Lorenko on the Fox and Sons OTK there, and starting 7th on screen now is going to be Aiden Fox. So it has been so interesting this year, to see the 5 up front in the points battle. We went to Charlotte, we made our way to Newcastle and, Ohio. And, I feel like this weekend's really going to be, interesting to see what Ramos can do to, get that first OKN championship under his belt, right? Because, we talk, what wins championships, Caleb? It's not always, winning here and there. It's, who can be the most consistent over the course of the year. And, this drone shot in front of us, Caleb, is just, this is just so amazing.
Yeah, and again, a huge shout out to the Star Championship Series for providing us here to bring these shots to you guys week in and week out. So big thanks to them, and a huge shout out to that entire team as well. But we look on the racetrack. Terlecki currently quickest so far this morning. Caleb Gaffera second quickest in the lap times at the moment, a 46.121 for Terlecki. Gaffera, a 46.244. You see that gap change around, and as I say that, Gaffera goes to the top early on this morning. Massimino to 3rd, Fox to 4th, Diego Ramos to 5th here, and then Henry Wheeler, Friesen, Gunler, Lorenko, and Austin Owens running it with top 10. And one of the big stories, Wesley Gunler didn't have the pace that we expected him to have yesterday, so look out for that driver to kind of work his way up the order throughout the motos, and a couple of others as well. But the fight at the front is going to be super interesting. We saw the racing action that, the night fight provided for us last year in 2023 with this OKN package, and we're expecting the exact same here this year with a couple of more stars, a couple of more locals like Massimino, like Gaffera, all racing here this weekend as well. For Austin Owens, rookie had a really good showing in his first 2 rounds of OKN racing action, and he just got thrown into it. Had never driven it before he debuted at the Clash at the Club, and with the checkered flag out, Owens finds himself well inside of the top 10 in the 10th spot right now. And Gaffera picking up where he left off yesterday at the top of the timing screen. Terlecki to 2nd, Massimino in 3rd, Fox, and then Gunler running up your top 5, and a much better showing for the Fox and Sons here this, I shouldn't say morning, this afternoon before we get into the night racing action. And you have Wheeler, Ramos, Lorenko, Friesen as well. A huge shout out to Beckett Friesen, who unfortunately missed what would have been his opening OKN campaign at the Clash at the Club. A broken rib put him out of that one. Back here at Trackhouse Motorplex, finds himself inside of the top 10. Olds in 10th, Mignanzu, and the rest of your field here in OKN Stars warm-up session. Straight into Pro Stars warm-up as well. And a couple of storylines coming into this weekend. Talon Yockel, it's been an up and down year for him. He qualified on the front row at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati alongside ex-teammate and AJ Myers, longtime friend. But those two guys have been going at it for the track record, all year long, unofficially on the new tire compound. And Myers was able to get the better of Yockel last night, I should say. But again, we talk about what Myers had in store, and it looked like he had a lot more in the bag. But unfortunately, traffic put him out of that one. And when you talk about the championship, you talk about this kid who's put himself in a good spot here this weekend. 3rd at the moment for Gavin Bailiff, 92 points back from AJ Myers, who is in the lead with 812 points, and Billy Musgrave 2nd with 71 points. So a little bit of a bigger gap than what you see in OKN, but still a big shot. And for Gavin Bailiff, an interesting story for him this weekend as well. Has moved around with different engine builders, but this weekend built his own engine and built his own package to kind of be here this weekend and race here this weekend after he learned a lot last weekend being down under in Australia with the Flat Out Karts team, the Kart Republic, I guess, team that they're in collaboration with in Australia, and Sam Dicker was down there. So Gavin went down there to support Dicker in the championship, the Australian National Championship, where he was able to win. But again, look out for Gavin Bailiff as well to be quick on his own engine package that he built before this weekend. And again, he's been ripping so far. I think finished 5th in qualifying yesterday and has had a good showing to guys like Josh Conker, Ian Quinn, Talon Yako, and Myers, who are probably just worried about, their go-karts, not so much worried about their engines and doing whatnot. And again, a huge shout out to the bailiffs as well. Finnegan and Gavin are super busy dealing with the team, dealing with customers and giving out parts and whatnot, and as well racing at the same time, wrenching on their own stuff. And they have some help this weekend with Jarrett and Papito helping out here with Gavin. But again, a lot of hard work goes into a lot of these, and into both of their driving and running the team and driving as well at the same time and managing that has been super cool to see from our perspective. Billy Musgrave, another driver who kind of struggled yesterday. He was coming off a big win in Cincinnati, only 7th quickest for him in the qualifying session yesterday. And AJ Myers as well. He was the man on the pole position yesterday. So the Magic Man going to look to close off this championship. He came close at the SCUSA Pro Tour, lost it to Mateus Morgado in the final round, but he looks to kind of rewrite the script here at Stars and go better than the rest. Engines are fired now. Everybody getting pushed off and working their way out onto the racetrack here, Jerry. But what are some of the big standouts so far that you kind of saw yesterday and that you're expecting to see here this afternoon and tonight when we get into the racing action?
Yeah, we talked with AJ last night. He talked a little bit about, him and Talon have, kind of been going back and forth for the track record here. As it seems like Ian had a little bit of an issue there, but he's going to slot in line. But yeah, I feel like Talon and AJ, class of the field in qualifying yesterday, 1-2. Josh Conker had a pretty solid qualifying in P4. A couple notables. See if I could find someone here down the order. Eli Fox, a little bit of a struggle in P15.
Yeah.
And trying to find where his teammate Charlie was. Charlie was P11 in qualifying yesterday. So a little bit of work to do for the Factory Fury boys in the Pro Shifter class, but I'm sure the whole Factory Fury GP team, AJ Naut, everyone over there is gonna get to work on the wrenches, go look at data, whatever they need to go search for to find some more pace today.
And again, remember Charlie had issues yesterday in the qualifying session, got together with another driver and that put him on the back foot, but seems to be doing much better here this morning and was quickest on that warm-up and out lap. So we'll see how Charlie kind of fends up against the rest of the field. Again, Yako, we expected a little bit more from Talon as well last night. We expected him to be up there fighting for the pole position. And again, just seems like he never showed up in the end. And AJ as well talked about it in his interview with Xander that he was expecting Talon to be up there. But again, either something amiss for the privateer yesterday or some sort of issue there for Talon that didn't allow him to fight for that pole position. But looks pretty good so far this morning as he goes to the top now on his first lap at 47.468. Bailiff's up to second. Steins falls back to the third spot. CJ Bowman, Eric Hugh as well had issues yesterday in the qualifying session. Conker was pretty strong, and he was one of the drivers that we were expecting to see up there as well with how his previous showings here at the Night Fight have gone, and picked up right where he left off last year and impressed all of us here in the booth and everybody else as well down the order. Just been surprising. Vincenzo Saracino, a driver that we expected to see further up the field as well, Jerry, and we just haven't seen him. It's been a year almost to forget for Vincenzo with a lot of mechanical issues that we saw with Billy as well. His year started with mechanical issues and it got better in Cincinnati, but for Vincenzo it's just been a little bit of the same all year long.
Yeah, Caleb. I mean, even the same with Vincenzo's teammate Justin White. The pace really hasn't been there. We went to King of the Castle and the Ohio round, and the pace really just hasn't been there. A little bit of struggles here and there. I believe he qualified somewhere in the top 10 yesterday. I'll see if I can figure out where he did qualify. But yeah, a little bit of a miss for both Justin White and his teammate Vincenzo. But hopefully some more work, and they can find the way further up in the front.
Yeah, and you see our fellow photographer Riley Can looking to keep up with these shifters into turn number 8. So I know it's a hard task, but doing a good job of it, to say the least, here for Mr. Canman. And, yeah, I mean, so far this morning, not morning warm-up session. We're so used to saying morning warm-up, but this warm-up session for the Pro Star is going quite well for drivers like Gavin Bailiff and Yako, who, felt like they were a little bit behind the 8 ball at the end of last night and find themselves up in the order is definitely good. I spoke to Gavin, just wanted to go lower on gear, felt like he wasn't on the right stuff and just wanted to go lower. And you heard as well from Alex Steenfield of being able to carry that lower gear as well. It's going to be better here. So speeds at about 85, 86 miles an hour in these shifter carts. Again, it seems like you have long straightaways here, but they come at you really, really quick when you're going 86 miles an hour down the back straightaway and the front straightaway and whatever little kinks and corners that you have here. So it's been interesting, to say the least, for a lot of these drivers. But speaking of Jamie McMurray earlier on today, he was telling me that he just got a shifter for Carter, and it's been a difficult learning experience. And he said seeing all these guys and girls, drive out here on the racetrack and seeing how smooth they are and how they make it look easy, and then you get into the shifter looking to do the same thing and replicate what they do week in, week out. It's just hard, and you feel like you're going to get flung out of the go-kart. You heard Kyle Larson as well talk about it last night, and it's just not as easy as it seems. And for all these superstars, I mean, they make it look easy. A guy like Billy Musgrave with years and years of experience behind a shifter kart steering wheel has just been insane to see them do what they do week in and week out.
Yeah, Caleb, even myself, I have about a day of shifter experience under my belt, and, it is absolutely unlike anything single speed. It's not like X30, you're going into corners, you're dropping gears, and especially, the tough part, is, learning to start the shifter with the clutch. That was a struggle for me, stalling it, until, I realized, if I just start it in third gear and just roll, I can get it going. So, it was definitely, for me, it was a learning experience. But, talking about Carter, as Ian's showing a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit of anguish here, is he wasn't too happy with someone there.
Yeah, just letting everybody else go by. And again, it's a warm-up session. You don't want to find yourself racing too much. You want to find yourself in good track position, especially if you're in the shoes that Ian Quinn has here, this weekend so far. And pardon the left-hand side of your screen there, just a little glitch in our system so far, and it'll be back up here shortly. But Myers still in that second spot. Yockel currently the quickest, and again, that's a very good showing for Talon, who was struggling yesterday, just not well inside of the top 5 like we were expecting to see him, but still not bad, to say the least. Everybody else still fighting further back in the field. And for Yockel as well, this year started with the Saudi Racing USA team and then moved over, chose to be a privateer, moved alone with his dad, and it's been good ever since. They qualified on the front row at the Clash of the Club, and to find himself in the championship fight here in 4th, just 107 points back from his ex-teammate in AJ Myers. This could be a good end, but unfortunately it's going to be a big ask if he wants to hold on to that number 1 plate next year.
Absolutely, Caleb. And last time by, AJ Myers is going to go 2/10 up on about a 1/10.5 up on the field. And I was talking to AJ yesterday as I was walking him over to the booth, and I was like, hey, you put 3/10 on the field. How'd you feel? It was like, I had more in it.
Yeah.
And, I was like, wow. If he really feels like that was the case, I believe he said the same thing in the booth.
Yeah.
That he felt like he had more in it. Definitely going to be a task for Talon Yockel and the rest of this pro shifter field to take it to AJ this weekend. But 15 seconds left on the board here in your pro shifter warm up, and coming around here into turn number 8, Talon Yockel in the second position. And a couple of carts pulling into the pits early there. I believe that was that might have been AJ there.
One of the Burl Art machines with issues.
Sam
here.
Avrutsky,
and I think Avrutsky was actually the driver that Myers had issues with yesterday in the qualifying session. So unfortunate there for Avrutsky, who's off the racetrack there. You see the tape kind of flying off those radiators as well. But checkered flag in the air now. AJ Myers quickest in the warm-up session. Yockel second, Bailiff third, Musgrave 4th, and Robbie Boydishow P5. And again, your top 4 drivers in the championship are top 4 in the warm-up session. That's exactly what we were expecting to see. And last little bits of practice starts here for Boydishow, and Eli Fox just unfortunately stalling out there, just on the on the edge of pit entry. So that's unfortunate there for him. And again, the whole shot's going to be important when you fight against guys like Musgrave, Myers, and Yockel, who all are really good off the bat. So that'll be something to look out for here later on in the day. But that being said, I believe that is going to be the end of our free coverage here this afternoon at Trackhouse Motorplex. We'll throw that schedule up here on the bottom for you guys at home to show you what is set to come your way here in a couple of moments' time from Mooresville, North Carolina. It all started this morning at 12 o'clock with your warm-up sessions, and that was all free to view. And again, for your KC Premium members, become $9.99 a month to watch all the racing action live. That includes heat races and all the pro shows that are coming your way later on today. But signing out from our free coverage here, we'll see you on the other side here. And again, your Friday schedule here on the September 13th, Friday the 13th, we should say here, Jerry. Heat 1 getting set to come your way here at 3:40 p.m. Eastern. So that's in about 10 minutes' time. That countdown of green will be on the other side. Heat 2 at 7:10 p.m., then Pro Moto 1 at 6:30, and Pro Moto 2 at 9:25. That's going to be it for our free coverage here today. Become a Casey Cream member for $9.99 a month, and we hope to see you on the other side in a couple of moments' time. We're signing out for our free coverage, and we'll see you guys on the other side in 10 minutes' time.